this meeting to order, please. Opening roll call and statement.
Let the minute reflect that adequate notice of the holding of this regular meeting of the Howell Township Council was provided for in the following manner: by the posting of a copy of said notice upon the bulletin board in the Township Municipal Building on January 5, 2017, by the faxing of a copy of a said notice to the Tri-Town News, Asbury Park Press, and Star Ledger for information and publication on January 5, 2017, by the filing of a copy of said form of notice in the Township Clerk's Office on January 5, 2017. The public will be allowed to attend and will be allowed to participate pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law. The public is reminded that civility and decorum will be maintained during the meeting. Any contracts awarded at this meeting or between now and the next meeting will be required to comply with the requirements of Public Law 1975, Chapter 127. In accordance with the Fire Prevention Code, be advised that this facility is designed with emergency exits for your safety. The locations are as follows. Upon exiting the meeting room, they are to your left and to your right. Furthermore, smoking is not permitted in the municipal building. Please take note that this meeting is being videotaped for possible future broadcast on Howell Television. Also, no food or beverage is permitted in this room. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Here.
Mrs. Smith.
Present.
Mr. Walsh.
Here.
Mr. Nacastro.
Here.
Mayor Berger.
Present. Does anyone on the dais have any matters for executive session?
Mayor,
Yes.
executive session for pending litigation, Colell versus Township of Howell, docket number 16-2457. Ronco versus Township of Howell, 17-CV-01956. Contract negotiations, Pierce Farm, Block 52, Lot 7, 11, and 11.01. Block 71, Lot 20, and PBA SOA.
Can I,
Motion to go in executive.
thank you.
Second.
My mind was elsewhere.
I'll read the executive session resolution. Whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell is authorized pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12 to exclude the public from that portion of the meeting for purposes of discussing specific matters as permitted by NJSA 10:4-12. Whereas the governing body of the Township of Howell intends to discuss certain matters which are deemed confidential pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12. Whereas this time the governing body of the Township of Howell cannot determine the time when the discussion to be held in executive session will be made public, but will disclose the minutes of executive session when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the Township of Howell that this meeting shall be adjourned to an executive session, and the public will be excluded in order that the governing body of the Township of Howell may discuss the items previously listed, and upon reconvening the public meeting, the presiding officer will announce, if possible, the time, when, and circumstance under which a discussion conducted in executive session will be disclosed to the public. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro.
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. The executive session minutes from tonight's meeting can be disclosed to the public when the need for the confidentiality no longer exists. I would like to stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So I didn't do this, so I will do that. Oh, God. Okay, thank you.
Uh-oh,
Get that check. Don't tell me that's the broken one.
they're all broken. I don't know.
Need some of my meds, Pauline? You feel a little better?
No,
So we need
get a little
accept-
closer. It's,
Just all
that's
for
it,
the
thank
help.
you.
Acceptance of minutes from previous meetings. April 27th was a special meeting. The budget meeting, May 2nd, was the regular meeting plus executive and public release, and May 16th was a special meeting on affordable housing.
Mayor, may I suggest that we take separate votes as April 27, everyone was present. May 2, absent Mayor Berger. May 18, absent Councilwoman Smith.
Okay.
Is that May 16th or 18th?
May 16.
I was just checking.
So can I have a motion?
For April
For April
27.
20.
Motion
27.
to approve.
Second.
April 27.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. May I have a motion for May 2nd?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
I was not present. May 16.
Motion to approve May 16?
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
I abstain, I was absent.
Mr. Walsh?
Abstain, I was absent.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. So we have a proclamation this evening for Relay for Life 2017. Whereas Relay for Life is a life-changing event that helps communities across the globe celebrate the lives of people who have battled cancer, remember loved ones lost, and fight back against disease. And whereas Relay for Life events bring the community together to take up the fight to eliminate cancer as a major health threat. And whereas Relay for Life is staffed and coordinated by volunteers in more than 5,200 communities and 27 countries. Volunteers give their time and effort because they believe it is the time to take action against cancer. And whereas Howell High School students held their annual Relay for Life on June 9 and 10, 2017, to raise money for the fight against cancer with the goal of raising $130,000 this year for American Cancer Society. Now therefore, the Township Council of the Township of Howell does hereby salute those who make Howell High School Relay for Life event possible for their events in promoting awareness and raising funds that support the mission to save lives and diminish suffering. I attended the event. It was very well attended. The students did an amazing job, so did the teachers and everybody else there. So I really do commend them for raising so much money. It was an excellent project.
They always do. They do a wonderful job. God bless them.
I would like to recognize some new employees, so I will just read their names aloud. Victor Cook, Kyle Bowdy, is that correct, Miss Penny? It's close, okay. Nick Petruca and Chris Salvia, Paul Novello, Tracy Kirch, Amanda Howell, and Vanessa Remsen. So,
You want to bring them up, or?
we don't think,
employees present this
we don't think that they were present.
Paul is here.
Oh, okay. Please come up.
Yeah, he put that, you don't want him to have put on that suit for nothing.
Yeah, I
Welcome,
wanna go
Paul.
down. I wanna go down there.
But
Hi. Hi, Paul.
Paul's our new Director of Public Works. He has a stellar resume and background here before he came here, and we're very fortunate to have him with us, that's for sure.
Welcome. Thank you.
just so you know, Paul, if you don't want Mrs. Smith after you, November 1st, you put out the snow fences.
Note to self.
Writing that down, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hi, Amanda. Welcome. What position are you in?
Tax collector's office,
Welcome aboard.
Vanessa Rustin,
And your position?
tax collector's office.
Welcome aboard. Thank you for coming up, ladies.
And also,
gentlemen.
just so everyone knows, they go through a very extensive selection process, go through over 100 resumes for each one of those positions that comes through, and then multiple interview processes. And we are also very, very fortunate to have them on board here with Howell.
Excellent. Did you want me to mention the new places, Penny, or no?
No, that's okay.
No? Okay. This evening, we also have a presentation from the Monmouth County Board of Health. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us. I'm not sure which way to stand up, though.
Face
Sit,
them.
and those
You
are
could sit and
microphones.
kind of face them, I think.
Okay. First and foremost, I'd like to give Christopher Merkel, our health officer's regrets for not coming tonight. He did have a family emergency in the a family member in the emergency room. I just want to give you an idea of what the health department does. With me is Dr. Schneider, who is actually on our Board of Health and is one of your local residents, who is always available to everybody. The Board of Health has a variety of services. We actually have a hazardous materials
Maybe she
team.
should stand behind.
Behind them.
Maybe you want to stand behind the microphone.
I'm turning the mic towards you so to pick it up on TV.
Oh, I'm not a short person.
Paul.
Okay. The health department has a variety of services. We have a hazardous materials team, which you may or may not have seen in Howell, who respond to any kind of leaks, issues with any kind of chemicals. We also have a water and beach crew. Does that work better?
Yes.
Much
Yes.
better.
Okay. They actually sample the beaches this time of year. Currently, as of this minute, the beaches are all open. Water is clean. They also do noise and air complaints throughout the county. My division is really nursing, health, clinics. And what our area does is we do adult immunizations. Probably have seen some of you at the flu clinics. We do children's immunizations. We have women's health clinics where we have free Pap and mammographies for residents of towns we cover, as in Howell. We have a huge lead poisoning program in the county where our goal is really to prevent lead poisoning in our children. And that actually goes over into Alice's group. We not only do the screening part with the children, but we also do an entire environmental piece where we go out and check houses. And we check consumer goods, which is pretty unique in New Jersey. We're able to test spices from different folks, different commodities, dishes. Unfortunately, we're still finding lead in all of them. The health department has had the opportunity to do a brand new grant, which has just started within the last month. We're doing the Public Health Nurse Zika grant. Everybody's heard of Zika on the TV, but the magnitude of it has really not been expressed. We're finding that 1 in 10 babies born to women who have been affected by Zika have children with some kind of a deficit. It's not just what you've seen on TV with the small heads, the microcephaly, but there's other developmental issues. And we're really proud to say this is actually the pilot for the United States. So it's a big project that we're undertaking. We also have a sexually transmitted disease clinic that we work with Jersey Shore Medical Center. We have an eye clinic, which is one of our other excellent programs that everybody needs to take advantage of. It's the first Monday of each month. We have tied in with the Commission for the Blind. We have free eye screening, get prescriptions for new glasses. He also diagnosed different issues with the eye. And it's certainly available to all our residents. We also do a travel clinic, where if any of our residents are traveling anywhere in the world, we're able to give you all the information, not only on health and vaccines, other issues going on in the country. Simple things like, do you need an international driver's license? What's the water quality where you're going, the air quality? And that is also available to all our residents. And I'm going to hand the microphone over to Alice.
Good evening, I'm Alice Cadot. I'm in charge of the Consumer and Public Health Services Unit. With me here tonight is Max Shumanoff. He is one of 4 inspectors who work in Howell. Howell is a very large, diverse community that we cover in our department, and Max gives it his full attention every day, even evenings and weekends. He's always out and about. He and his other inspector coworkers are the face you would see every day. So if Max is knocking on your door asking about your dog after it was involved in a bite, don't get alarmed. You know, that's part of his job. He's making sure that the animals are all vaccinated for rabies, and the person bitten is protected. We do, besides rabies, we cover food inspections in the restaurants, which is probably what most of you think is our primary occupation. And in Howell, it does take up a great deal of time. There are over 250 restaurants in Howell. Most the things you probably don't consider restaurants, they serve some kind of food or beverage, so we do inspect them every year. We also follow up on food complaints. There are usually quite a few of those in a given year. We inspect the daycare centers in the schools. We check the immunization records of all the students under the immunization regulations issued by the state. We inspect your pools, your public recreational bathing pools, tanning facilities, tattoo facilities, animal care facilities, wide range of anything that has a regulation from the Department of Health under the state sanitary code. We have some form of enforcement and inspection requirements to fulfill on behalf of Howell Township. We also investigate a large array of complaints from sewage overflows to mosquitoes to poison ivy to sometimes we get strange odor complaints as well, garbage, and usually comes down to garbage and things like that. Max and the rest of my staff, they work in conjunction with the Mosquito Commission, who, under a reorganization, is now under the umbrella of the County Health Department. So they work in tandem. We have two different sets of enforcement regulations that we can enforce, and they have the ability to do testing of the mosquito pools. One of the other things I wanted to touch base on, what? Yes, communicable diseases. We have an epidemiologist on staff, which is a plus for all of our residents, because the following up on communicable disease reports is her primary job. And it is a full-time one. She covers everything from foodborne illness to the more rare things like Giardia and Legionella and what was that last one we just had? Some kind of fungal infection from India. So she has to know a wide variety of things and spends a lot of time making sure that if it has the ability for an outbreak, that we do everything in our power to keep it from spreading through the community. A lot of our time in Howell, because of its rural nature, is septic and well related. We do everything from checking soils with engineers to reviewing plans to going out when there's like a realty transfer of a commercial property to make sure that what's going in the ground is what it was built for. And I think that would be the other item. One of the primary services that we're very, very proud of is that we have a response network after hours and weekends. So if there is an emergency, there is someone specifically on call to handle a response after hours. So I think that about covers what I needed to say. If Dr. Schneider, as your Howell representative, would like to say a few words.
Well, I think that Howell Township is fortunate because the Monmouth County Board of Health is recognized as the #1 health department in the state of New Jersey. The programs are so numerous. I've covered some of them, but did we talk about the pump-out boat that we have? We also have a pump-out boat on the bay to pump out the waste from recreational fishing, and that's environmentally sound, and it's of absolutely no cost to the taxpayers whatsoever. I just want to mention your presenter, Geraldine, has been recognized by the state of New Jersey as the Public Health Nurse of the Year. So
Excellent.
that's the quality of our staff. All of our staff are top-notch and professional, and so many have been recognized as, else was just recognized
Katie Andrews. Katie Andrews
as
was the RDHS of the year,
environmental.
registered environmental health specialist.
Yeah, Kate Andrews on our staff has been recognized as the environmental health expert, #1 in the state of New Jersey. So this is the quality of services that Howell Township gets from the Monmouth County Health Department. Thank you.
I have two things just came to mind during the presentation. Thank you very much for all the information. One is, if people in the community need services, is there a fee schedule, or how do they contact you, or to learn about a fee schedule?
For most of my programs, there really aren't fees collected, with the exception of the restaurant review fees or a public pool review fee. The septic and well fees are handled through Howell Township under your ordinances. And the only fee Gerald's program is for the travel clinic and the various travel vaccines, which are basically at cost for residents of Howell. And is there an exam fee or no? Not for the residents. For our residents of the towns that we cover, there's no exam fee. What was the other half of that question?
So the other one was, I was just in another town, and they do an ABCD kind of grading schedule on on restaurants. Is that something that we would look into, or do you think it's needed? Just a thought.
The grading system on restaurants is dictated to us by the State Department of Health.
Okay.
And it is rigorously debated year after year after year. Right now, we're staying, we are agents of the State Department
Sure.
of Health and the Department of Environmental Protection. And right now, currently, they have no plans to change to ABCD. It is discussed every time there is a revision. Currently, we're following the FDA food code, which is the same basic code
Sure.
in all the other states. It's just that our system is satisfactory, conditionally satisfactory, and unsatisfactory.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Thank you for the clarification.
no problem.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? No?
May I just note that on our township website, we do have a link that links to the Board of Health's website, so if anyone needs to get any more information, they could go to the website to find your website. Thank you.
And just so everybody should be aware, the #1 communicable disease in Monmouth County and in Howell Township is Lyme's. So this time of the year, go online, see all the precautions that you have to take when you're out in your gardening, when you're out in the woods, because Lyme disease is your #1 communicable disease in Monmouth County and in Howell Township.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there any discussion of what we just discussed? No? So we could move on to the 2017 capital budget.
I have additions to the agenda, so
Okay.
if I could read that in, if we're up to the reports of professionals.
Okay.
Shall I go first, Mayor?
Yes, please.
Okay. Additions that have been placed on the agenda from the preliminary to the final agenda include Resolution R-17, 232, 9A39, authorized refund of unused park and ride fee, Michael Porter, $207. Resolution R-17, 233, authorize acceptance of project, accept final change order, authorize final payment, and acceptance of maintenance bond. 2016 Capital Program Number 2, Mill and Overlay, Woodstone and Oakland, Contract 16-08. Resolution R-17-234. Authorize release of performance guarantee and acceptance of maintenance guarantee. D. Virgilio subdivision, Block 79.09, Lot 70. Site improvements, case number SD-2918. Resolution R-17-235. Authorize release of performance guarantee and acceptance of maintenance guarantee. D. Virgilio subdivision, Block 79.09, Lot 70. Sanitary sewer improvements, case number SD-2918. Resolution 236, authorize release of maintenance guarantee, Howell Associates, Dollar General, Block 130, lots 41, 42, 43, Route 9 North. The release is $9,536.92. Resolution 237, approve and endorse the acquisition of a development easement by the Monmouth Conservation Foundation, Nevergreen Figus Farm, Block 151, Lot 12.02, 395 Casino Drive. Removing from the agenda is Resolution R-17-230, authorize award a contract, New Jersey State Contract 42774, the fueling facility upgrades at DPW. That's all I have. Those are your changes to your agenda.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor, I had two announcements. I was wondering,
Please.
firstly, on June 3rd, the Adelphia Fire Company in Adelphia had their 90th anniversary celebration, and they also had a new truck that they had purchased. The service from this fire company, for me personally, has been since childhood. I mean, they've done Christmas parties. George Matthews at the time was there, and for any people that may remember George, he was always instrumental in trying to get as many of the community involved as possible. But again, I can only say that the Adelphia Fire Company has continued their commitment to the town. It was a very nice event. Matter of fact, my brother Lee was the chief of the Adelphia Fire Company at one point, and he came up from Virginia to help celebrate this. So it was a very nice turnout, a lot of old faces that I hadn't seen in a while, and very nice to see a lot of faces that I didn't know. That just tells me that fire company's growing, and they have a lot of support within the organization. So that was very, very nice. Secondly, I would like to announce that the Howell Library and the Howell Heritage Group will be, jointly will be kicking off the summer reading program. And the program is called Build a Better World. So it's 6:30 on July 6th. It's a free program, and this is going to focus on the history of Howell, which of course is, we may not all know the history of Howell, but it's from the 1700s. There's a lot to learn about Howell. Amongst some of the things that they're going to be showing that evening will be a volunteer, Mr. Don McGurr, will be coming in. He's from the McGurr Clayton Funeral Home. He's doing a presentation mainly focused on Blue Ball, which probably many people in this audience don't know the location of Blue Ball. So you should go that evening and find out where it is.
Is it Pennsylvania?
No, it's in Howell.
Oh, there's one in Pennsylvania.
It's an old
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, it's an old
There's
name,
one in Pennsylvania.
So there's a lot of history in the Blue Bowl area, so it'll be nice to see that. The program is really a program that, you take your children. There's probably a lot of things that they're going to see in the dioramas and some of the older pictures, some of them over 100 years old, that they've probably learned in class, and you might be very surprised to see exactly what they're retaining. But to know the history of where you live is valuable. So July 6th, 6:30 at the Howell Library is the kickoff for the summer reading program. Please bring your family. It's a program not to be missed, but the reading program itself is superior. We are very fortunate now. So I ask all of you to attend with your families. I'm sure you'll have a good time.
Thank you, Ms. O'Donnell. Anyone else? Okay, would we like to go to the 2017 capital budget?
Okay, Mayor and Council, we're looking for some direction to see what you would like to approve or not approve within the capital budget that we've discussed, but we really haven't drilled down to the point of decision-making through our various budget hearings. And we're looking for some direction.
So forgive me for this being the first time that I'm going through this exercise. So do we just call out things that we want to approve, or how does that work?
Generally, I'll have to have a consensus on what items are approved or are not approved before we go into any type of,
So we'll go through each section?
if, that'll be up to the governing body to decide how to do
That's
that.
the easiest, way to right?
do it, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayfield, I would like to know what contractually we were already in agreements with, like Aldrich Lake or anything else like that. We're already in an agreement with the county to dredge the lake.
We are not with Aldrich Lake. We are in an agreement with the upgrades to the Lanes Pond Road Dam by Lake Louise.
Lanes Pond Dam,
That's correct.
anything else like that?
We also have an obligation to do work at the Bear Swamp areas dam also, or there will be fines assessed by the DEP.
So if we don't do that work, we'll be fined by the DEP.
Correct. We have to submit a plan for the work by the fall, where fines will be assessed.
And then eventually we'll have to do it anyway, or we'll get fined again. Is that pretty
Right.
accurate?
That's correct.
Okay.
Since we're in the engineering portion, my question was, on the West Farm sidewalks, is the 210 additional to the 142,000 for the block grant?
Yes.
So it's actually 352,000 for the project?
That's our portion, yes.
So Jeff, or Lou, we are only receiving $142,000 of that block grant? Because it always was like $250.
We received another 210 I brought up before. That's for over on Prevatorium Road. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right.
210,000 went to Prevatorium Road, and we really didn't have much say on where it went, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
But what was our number for this block grant for the sidewalks and curbing on West Farm?
And I also have another question while you're looking stuff up. So we have curbs and apron projects, and they all come out to 510. So my question is it the same scope of work for each one of those three projects?
Well, they're not exactly designated yet. That's something that's handled during the course of the year. Some of it's when we're following some of the other utility work that's being done. And we do the entire job from start to finish following them to replace curbs, replace aprons where it's appropriate.
So at the maximum, it'll be 510,000, but it could be less?
Correct, but I'm sure we'll use that all.
And I just verified with Mr. Herman's budget submittal, the grant was proposed for $142,000. The total cost of the project was $210,000. So if we receive the $142,000 from the CDBG grant, then the total cost to the township would only be $68,000.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
But I believe, but you're recommending to put 210 for that project then?
That's how much it is.
Once we come to the,
Did the 142 get subtracted because,
yes,
well,
yes.
you're showing, you're showing a total general capital of 9.8,
Mhm.
and then after the source of funding,
Mhm.
it's not reduced, it's the same number, so that's why I'm a little confused.
It's the grant has been factored into the source of funding in total for the ordinance. So the net cost to the township, we would be paying out 210,000, but of that 210,000, the funding would be offset by that
That we would be
by that
taking in.
$142,000 grant.
Oh, okay.
So why wouldn't there be a net reduction then?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
The net reduction would be shown.
In the
it's-
final number. It's
it's-
included in the final number.
But the final number is the same.
It's the same, but the reduction would be in the amount of bonds and notes that we need to authorize. That is less money than we would have to go out to market for.
Mr. Walsh, help me. You're the numbers man.
They just don't have
So,
that.
so we wouldn't be bonding for this particular number that you're saying the funding is?
Correct, that is correct.
It's how much the project is gonna cost, but
You're just showing the total cost, but then you would have to do the deductions of the
Right.
Yes, sir.
grants.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jeff, my question is, and I know on your email to us, you stressed about the dredging of Aldridge. I think the last conversation we had where we were waiting on DEP permits, and there's a specific time frame when we could do dredging. So, as of to date, I don't know. Did we receive those permits? And will we have the permits to be able to do this dredging in time for this year? Because I think our window is September, October, or October, November, December. So my concern is budgeting $3 million for this dredging, which I wholeheartedly support. I just don't want to put it,
I can get that information, I don't have it, I didn't have Mr. Herman come tonight,
Okay.
just because we had covered a lot of this previously, but I'll find out, I'm sure I can find out right now.
okay.
But if we approve it, Deputy Mayor, we don't bond for it at first. If the cost comes up, we put it in a bond anticipation note.
Right.
And then we as a governing body talk with the CFO about when to go out and bond.
I understand that. My only concern is that if we're going to bond other projects when he does, how many bonds are we going to pull?
We've done different ones before, depending on lengths of the projects
So
and
if-
refinancing them down.
I'm fine, if that's the
Yeah.
route we take for that $3 million.
Correct. We would work off of the short-term financing of the bond anticipation note until we felt that it was prudent to go up to market to issue bonds.
Full bond, I got you.
Could we go to other building and grounds projects? So, is there any availability for us to receive a grant for the generator at the radio tower for that
We-
project?
We've actually tried that and we were denied.
Jeff, whatever happened to the generator that we received from the county OEM, that we were talking about maybe possibly using it for seniors?
It's temporarily put up at the one tower, but we do have the availability to move it if we need it. So we do not have a permanent generator in place.
So that generator we received from the county, we're using at the tower?
Correct.
And what's the plan for that generator?
Well, if we need a
Because
place
wasn't it for
sheltering.
for sheltering?
For the potential of sheltering. That's what that's
Or
actually.
vaccinations or something like that if there's an
Correct.
outbreak?
Correct.
And then we were going to use the senior services as that
That's correct.
designation. Is that still the plan?
Yes, it is.
So
and then
that generator is easily moved?
It's mobile.
Not easily, because it's a
Well,
big generator,
it's a big
but it's
That's why I'm
movable.
asking.
So one of the things they had to do was
I'm sure we have a.
put a
quick-
cement, a pad down, and then the switch
If
was
they're
any,
going to do it permanently.
at the senior center.
Correct. I don't think that they've done that work yet, but I think it has the ability to be used, but it's not going to be placed for a permanent fixture at this time.
Can I ask you why?
Because it's being used elsewhere right now. Again, we haven't in the.
But if we get another
Oh,
generator,
then we would. I'm sure we would. We haven't had that discussion just because we're not there yet.
Why don't we start from the very beginning, if we are skipping all over the place?
Yes, ma'am. So I guess the first topic is vehicles.
Right. If, excuse me, if nobody else has any thoughts, my thoughts are that in these very difficult times, that we should look very closely at this list of vehicles, and I would cut out most of them. The seniors are going to get another passenger van.
Tonight, we're approving
Tonight,
that tonight on the
right.
resolution.
And how many do they have now? So I'd cross that one off first. What does everybody else think?
I'm in favor of the replacement of the police vehicles.
Well, I was talking about that one, is
Oh, I
everybody-
agree with you.
Okay, let's take that off. You want to start from the
Pauline,
top?
could you just tell me, I was under the impression that the Monmouth County was going to do something for a senior bus. Did you hear any of that as well
No.
coming down the pike?
Haven't heard anything lately.
Okay, because...
Anything additional?
Yes, okay.
So do you want me to just read them off?
Fine.
What about the Fire Bureau SUV to replace the Durango?
What do you say?
Just my own thoughts was, I was in favor of only the police vehicles, but I did want some clarification, Jeff, on the police vehicles. So there was a request for 450,000, you lowered it to 360. 8 vehicles comes out to $45,000 a vehicle. Now, I know in the past practice, we've been mostly purchasing SUVs out of capital for the purpose of, bonding for the lifespan. But $45,000 a vehicle, I mean, they were never $45,000 from what I recall. So what's changing that we're spending $45,000 on a vehicle?
I have Captain Plecky came to answer any specific questions, just with regard to those capital, because I know there were some emails that came out before, so I'm going to have Captain Mark Plecky come up for any details. But be aware, with the other programs, we've gone over all these through the prior budget hearing, so not all the department heads are here to answer the detailed questions.
I understand.
Because we already
No,
went through them.
I understand.
And we were actually instructed not to bring them, but Captain Plecky came up anyway.
He's the lucky one.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members.
Good evening.
Regarding the 45,000, while you have a base figure of maybe 20-some thousand dollars for a vehicle, and I don't have all my notes here, I apologize. I was told at the last minute to be here. Notwithstanding, by the time you add in the emergency lights, the first aid equipment, the gun vaults, the radios, and all the extra items that are needed for an officer to go on the road and be able to handle whatever he can possibly handle for the township. That's what it adds up to. It's been that way. It's just been in different places. We've decided to basically say, hey, listen, this is how much it costs for a vehicle. And we do need vehicles. Last year, we asked for 10, we got 5. And this year, we're asking for 10 again because we need 10. And
It says 8.
See,
It says 8. Chief told me it was 10. When would they change it? I'll ask for 10. Because, that's what he told me, but,
that was reduced, Cap, in the last capital meeting that we had with the department heads.
okay, I wasn't aware of that.
I
apologize.
understand, you weren't there.
Disregard what I just said. Notwithstanding, I would have to say that, again, we were shorted last year. These vehicles are on the road most of the time, 24/7. They have maybe one tour that has a break. So 100,000 miles goes on these vehicles very quickly. And normally it's 100 or 120,000 miles service life. Sometimes we have vehicles going over that because of the situation where we try to keep it going. The Public Works does a fantastic job, as far as I'm concerned, Frank and them, trying to keep everything, put together and everything. But still, after a while of going through this town, a 63 square mile town, 64 square mile town, driving from one end to the other sometimes, several times during the day, putting a couple hundred miles each shift on, it adds up. And we need to be prepared, and we need to give our guys the equipment to do the job like we've been doing. Thank you.
Chief, I'm sorry.
Thank you, really.
Captain.
All my work here is done.
Is the model going to be moving forward that we're just using SUVs, no more RMPs?
There has been discussion. There hasn't been anything absolutely, we're still sticking with SUVs. The cars these days, again, Ford and everything, a lot of places are going out of the car business because majority of officers are buying Tahoes, they're buying Explorers. So, they're, amping up for that type of specific car. The other cars that you have is light-duty cars, like detective cars and stuff like that. You're still going to have a detective maybe using a car, a smaller car than, say, a patrol officer, because of the fact of the duty. Patrol's out there, we're running, and detective has a little bit, different type of job. But overall, I think you're going to see SUVs coming into play a lot more.
The cars aren't that much cheaper. I mean, when you start, all the upgrades cost the same.
Yeah.
Okay, all the computers, everything that goes in them. The cars, I think, are only about $3,000 or $4,000 cheaper than the SUVs.
We started out with a base vehicle of about $28,000 over the years. I think the vehicles were costing us, I want to say 30-something, 34, Lou, you might have the numbers of the previous cars. I know there's been memos going out from the chief. I think I was aware of, we're going to incorporate ballistic doors on the vehicles now. Is this all incorporated in the price?
I believe so. And again, I don't have my notes here. Again, I apologize, last minute deal here. But,
Listen, vehicles are an important element, obviously, of the duties of the officers. I'm just concerned that $45,000 for a vehicle, are we really looking at equipping, still providing vehicles with the proper equipment for any less? I mean, 8 vehicles, we really need 10. It's a shame that what you need, you can't get because we're now at a number of $45,000. And Captain, with all due respect, it's not costing every department in New Jersey $45,000.
yeah, I think some of them are paying more.
And some of them are paying less. So where do we find the happy medium that we as a governing body provide the tools, because you really want 10, but now we're at 8 because we're trying to lower the number, the budget numbers.
Well, again, I would have to say, I have a captain and I have a patrolman that specifically do the fleet for us in the police department. And they're not the ones, hey, we're going to get the highest amount, let's put this in, let's put this in. They do a lot of looking around, they do a lot of comparison and evaluation, and they get the stuff, not the high-end stuff, but the stuff, some of them, obviously, there's some high-end stuff that we get, but not everything. We get stuff to get the job done. And I would submit to you that those 2 officers do a pretty good job at keeping costs down, because we tell them, hey, listen, we got to go before you guys. We can't just say, hey, we need a $70,000 car, you're going to give it to us. We spec out a vehicle with all the equipment, all the stuff, what we feel that an officer can do, and what the officer needs to do to protect the township and to work with the people and the residents of the town. And this is what we submit to you, all right? It's the way it is.
Listen, I could appreciate that. It's going to be the governing body's decision whether they want to spend $45,000 a vehicle. I'm not saying that it's not appropriate. I would like to, I haven't, not that I would know all the specs, but if you feel that this is the rock bottom vehicle, then obviously 8 is going to have to be the number versus 10 if all the due diligence was done. Is this going to be the new norm? I mean, now I know we live in.
Well, look at what's going on in the world today, okay? Look what's going on in the world, okay? I believe the township, the police department has done a good job of procuring equipment at no cost to this town, or minimal cost to this town, to benefit the township residents and the people in the department. And I believe the township has done, or the police department, the chief, and all the people here, not just one person, but all of our people have done due diligence in trying to keep costs down, overtime, everything else. And I think we've done a good deal in the last 2 years. And we're only asking for what we need. Again, the day of, well, I'm going to ask for 15 and hope for 10. No, we're asking even for what we need. And that's the way I look at it. And that's the way it is. That's all I can say to you. I realize you have fiscal responsibility. My personal opinion, again, 70% of the township budget goes to municipal, which is a 24/7 operation. I think more should go to it, but that's not my call. So, with due respect, on behalf of the chief and the department, if it says 8, then we'll take the 8. But we asked for 10, I guess.
That was the original request, Cap.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that goes without saying, I think. We're okay with the 8 police cars. Any other vehicles that you want to keep on the list, or just cross it all off?
I would stay with the 8 cars.
No, I said that.
That's it.
Okay.
Just an aside, with respect to that, our vehicles, after we're used with them and after they're not a police vehicle anymore, they get trickled down to other various departments for use,
And some of them go on for years and years and a couple of hundred more thousand miles.
but not in a pursuit or an emergency
Right.
capacity.
Agreed.
Right.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, I think we're approving tonight a resolution to go out to sell some of our surplus equipment. Some of them were vehicles. So to the captain's point, we do trickle down vehicles. You have, and I saw all the memos from the department heads. Code enforcement seems to be in dire straits. All the departments requesting vehicles are in dire straits. So are there any vehicles now, after we approve 8, that are not going to come on until next year, going to be trickling down to any of these departments that are going to enable those departments to do the same job that they need to do?
As the police department takes the vehicles offline, that they will do once the new vehicles are online, they'll be evaluated by DPW, and the determination will be made from there, whether it will go to auction or whether it'll go to another department. I would say the majority of the time, they are able to go to other departments, but I just can't guarantee that until DPW evaluates that to make sure that they're safe and operable.
I may add, too, there were 2 or 3 Dodge Chargers that we originally had. Unfortunately,
We're selling them on the,
well, you should, because they've had some structural things where they were taken out of service as being a safety issue. So, those cars, obviously, we can't repurpose. There's 2 or 3 that are gone that maybe could have been, had they been different cars, have been saved.
So are you, I don't know, are you saying that you want to come back to the table to look at whatever cars we can repurpose?
yeah. We're operating in the dark because we don't know what other departments are going to get, right? There's no definitive answer. Obviously, there's no room to lower these prices. I think we went from, last year, I looked on my notes, I think we were paying $38,000 for the vehicles, up to 45. I guess there's some added things you're doing, like the ballistics.
Officer safety these days is paramount.
I-
See what's going on.
I understand. So, if you're good with the 8, I'll vote for the 8.
And the other vehicles?
Anything? Okay. I'm fine with that, too.
The first 2 are all correct.
All but the police is what's being proposed.
But the Fire Bureau, we took that off?
Everything but the police cars.
Okay, gotcha. I'm fine.
Mr. Walsh?
I'm fine.
Okay.
That's unanimous, just the police cars, okay?
The next category?
And I would just say, Jeff, if something should change before we go out to bid with these, if the number goes down, I think we're approving the number, so
Gotcha.
if the vehicles goes down to 38,000 or 30,000 and there's enough money to go and get another vehicle for another department, then that's something you should exercise.
Okay, my next question, just for clarity, is are you approving the department request or what? I
No, your
recommended?
request.
My request, okay.
And I might add that these would be financed through the Monmouth County Improvement Authority this year, so we have until September to really fine tune what that number will be.
So would you entertain that if the price was less, that you would go to the 10 cars?
No, it's something
No, I
else.
think that we would go to...
You would go to something else?
Code or one of the other departments there.
The other departments came before us and said they couldn't do their job without the vehicles. You have to remember that. Don't know. They're not gonna have the vehicles, though. I think we're about to find out.
Okay, how about
Thank you, Cap.
Ma'am, is there any other issues pertaining to the police department?
I don't think so. Wait a minute.
I'm not
The
sure.
computer equipment, I know the mayor has some questions on. Would that be for police, or is that...
I think, I don't know who that was
That
for.
has nothing to do with you, Captain, the computers.
Well, the other things that pertain to the police department are the live scan. And that's it, actually, that's the only other thing that was approved that I see right now. And also the several items on the EMS request.
I don't have any information with that, sir.
Okay.
In respect to, if there's anything else I can answer, I'm here. If not, I request...
One of the other things you might be able to comment to, Cap, are the bathroom and shower upgrades in PD.
As far as,
How bad are they needed?
should have been done probably about 10 years ago.
It's only
We have-
20
We
years.
have maximized our lockers for the men, and all, I think I have one locker left for the ladies' room. It got to the point where I have special officers who keep their weapons at the station, and I had to take their lockers away. So they have to get dressed and drive into work, or bring their clothes in a bag or whatever, and get dressed in the bathroom per se, instead of having a locker as they used to have. The bathrooms, continuously, there's a problem with a flooding issue. I guess the engineering part of it, one of the...
Yeah, I see it when it comes all the way out even. There's
Yeah.
water all over the
Yeah.
place.
I think they have to wear a raincoat in the chief's office at the time. when the guys-
He literally has a bucket on his desk all the time for it.
Yeah, this is how, we have the newest building of the township there, which that was the newest building that was made by the township. And the chief of police has 2 buckets on his office desk to compensate for things that may come down. The ceiling tiles are replaced on a regular basis because they get wet.
There was a rumor that that was done on purpose, but I'm joking.
Well, then I
So,
guess,
so while we're on
I
that...
refuse to answer that.
Yeah, I'm sure you take the fifth. Jeff, the department request was 75,000, you upped it to 180,000.
That's correct, because when we got real pricing on it, when we actually spoke to folks that would do the work, that was the real number.
Okay, so let's just figure something out. I know we have on the OEM building, that's been a thorn in my side for years. You're requesting another
$40,000 if we want to get that up and running.
240,000, which is also going to have showers and all the amenities.
It will have a restroom there, yes.
There was talk in this building downstairs that when we had an emergency call out and staff needed to replenish and they couldn't go home, that we had the accessibility to do showers here. Showers in the OAM building, showers in the police department, showers here. I mean, when do we start to say, okay, maybe we have to shower in one area instead of 3 different areas?
I think OSHA, did I answer that?
You sure, you can, and
I believe OSHA and some other things require you to have showers in
That's right.
certain areas, facilities with respect to that. If I'm contaminated, I'm not going to go to
That's right.
to the police department or here or there or in here and walk in here and take a shower. I might want to go to that OEM building, which is isolated, and have a decon station there.
Yeah, but we're talking about something different.
Plus-
So we could decontam because we have the portable equipment to do that anyway.
Right?
these showers aren't for that purpose. These showers are for, obviously, if our officers are out for 24, 48 hours, they don't get the ability to go home and get to shower, you know. So are we having a shower in every location, or
They're
can we?
different needs. They're
Yeah.
different needs. The police department has a completely different need because they also are showering before work because they're involved in training, and many times they'll be involved in training and then have to go on the road, or they'll be contaminated with something, and they will use those showers for non-biohazard types of cleanups. The OEM would be for the folks that actually work for OEM, and also the EMS, we're looking to turn that into the EMS headquarters, that could potentially face the same types of things. And with regard to the single shower that's here in this building downstairs, that would really only be used by DPW workers who might stay when they go on the modified shifts during inclement weather or another, type of a natural issue like Sandy and Irene, that sort of thing. I'm not sure how you would mix those three up, to be
I
honest
don't
with
think
you.
you can. I think it's just plain basic necessity, that they have to be several departments, buildings, plus the distance between everything. It's not running down the hill. I don't think we can get it away without that.
180,000.
Yeah.
What's the square footage in the department that we need to fix
As far as where, ma'am?
at the station?
I don't have the square footage, but.
Do you know that?
There was a proposal to take an office and extend the bathroom and allow for several more lockers in the men's room, which is much needed. And then also to fix any of the defects that are in there now, redo the shower stalls or whatever, because the shower stalls, the pan is leaking, and that's what goes down into the chief's office. And they recaulk it, and Public Works does the best they can. And they're over there almost every day doing something, but it needs to be done.
Can we just see the bids for that project? I mean, not right now, obviously, but can we just take a look at it to see the scope of work?
Sure, I'm sure we can get that from, does Department of Public Works have that, or does engineering? Engineering has it, thank you. We can get it. But that's not gonna help for a decision for tonight.
Understood.
And again, this was presented through the budget hearings as well.
I don't think we can get away without doing it.
Were the specs
Probably
provided, Jeff, for that work? The scope of
I'm
work?
gonna guess the scope of work was, I don't know if the actual bid specs, I don't know if they've actually gone out for the professional bid specs yet, because nothing's been funded for it yet. They got some rough pricing based on the work that's gonna be going there, but it was much more realistic than the original price that we got before we actually talked to the types of companies that would do it.
In my package, and I have it, that was not in the package,
Okay?
so. Are we going back in order? You going back to the computers?
Sure. So, and I know that this was done the night of the budget hearing, I'm sorry if I forget. So, we're purchasing a server as well as licensing. Is the server for Microsoft 365?
I don't have those details.
Okay.
But I know we had a conversation about it, I believe
I
that
know,
it is based on the prior conversations.
Are there any discounts for government when it comes to,
No, they charge extra for government.
Yeah. There's 7 people in the process.
I guess I was just wondering if it was a recurring cost or if it was a flat cost? Well, sometimes you buy for the year and then you don't have to pay, and then some you pay on a monthly basis. Monthly? Annually?
I think so too.
All right, well, if we need to upgrade the computers.
You want that information, or you want to make the decision tonight?
Well, I mean,
We have to, I think, tonight.
I think there's
We have to
something-
make a decision sometimes, people. We had all the department heads here. We went through all this.
Yes.
We asked them every question under the sun.
Right.
I mean, we gotta make a decision sometime along the line, whatever it is.
Jeff, I would ask you a question in that the laptop replacement, your recommendation was 0?
That's correct.
And the same thing with the e-citation program.
That's correct.
And there was some grant money in that one also, right, for e-citation? Wasn't there some monies coming back to the department through grants?
Once you would, yes, once you would do it, but you still have to do the initial outlay.
Understood.
And again, we were looking to try to cut back on some of the capital, so
Understood.
we got to cut some things.
So Jeff, on the e-citation, because this is something that I think is worthy, does it have to be all or nothing? Can we roll it out over,
I think that's the startup cost. I think we've got to put that out there.
the startup cost was the one for
114.
scanners? I mean, is that for,
Yep. That's to get the system up and running.
A lot of
And I
grant
believe- and I
money, there's
believe-
caveats that go with it with that grant money. A lot of times when you're getting grants, there's other things that come in on the cost of the taxpayer after that grant comes in. So,
Jeff, I know there was two ways, I recall for some reason, that this program could be rolled out. There was one program that if you shared the cost of the fine with the company, you got the equipment for free. And then there was another price where, based on the laptops we had, we may not have needed the scanner, or, you know, we might just need the printer. There was different variations. I don't remember seeing all the backup on this, but, I mean, I think this is a worthy, listen, for efficiency, for a lot of reasons, the return on the investment is gonna be short. I think I remember the chief saying that well. I'm just wondering if we can validate that that's the startup cost, or,
Well, I know that that is a startup cost. That's
Yeah.
why they put it in the capital. And again, you absolutely, as a governing body, can override my recommendations.
No, I understand.
That's no problem.
well, thank you.
My feelings won't
Checking with
be,
you.
my feelings won't be hurt at all, just trying to facilitate
It's
the
okay.
process a little bit, Mr. Walsh.
and do you know if that e-citation, maybe Captain, you know, because it has to work in conjunction with the courts, is that for the software in the courts as well?
I'm not sure. I don't have that info.
I think it's going to go right into
I
ATS.
think it's going to go into the, right into the state system.
I think it goes right into ATS, so once it goes to the police department, it actually goes into the state system, I believe.
And then the courts is into that system?
They're all tied together at that point.
Okay.
The way the trend now with, same thing with ETRO and ECDR, everything's going into the state, and it goes to the court.
I mean, I remember during the budget hearing, there was talk about how much it cost for the printing of the summons books. So basically, in the end, this project was pretty much paying itself off in
was pretty
probably like a
cost-effective.
year.
It's cost effective, it's quicker, you know, you have the scanners to scan the, I believe the licenses in the cars. That automatically backfills certain parts of the summons and everything else. So an officer can basically do his job a little bit quicker, and it gets recorded instead of having to now I have to take a hard copy, put it in the court bin.
It's
all
in.
done automatically. Saves a lot of time.
I'd like to put that back in.
The e-citation? I would agree.
The live scan, fingerprint scanner, which is another unfunded mandate. What happens if we don't get it, Jeff?
Theirs is wearing out. I'm told that theirs is nearly at the end of life.
Our live scan, we've been having almost every week an issue revolving in it. It's been there for quite some time. We rely on the live scan, especially now with the bail reform.
Bail reform, I know.
The bail reform now, everybody has to be fingerprinted first, and we have to wait sometimes an hour, sometimes up to 2 hours for the state to get back to us and say, okay, this is a 1, 2, or 3, is he good to be released, or should he be held? Without that,
Thanks,
we're dead in the water. And
What would be the backup plan if the scanner goes down and you have to process?
I have to take them either to the wall, or I have to take somebody to Howell Township or whatever, and use their live scan.
I got you.
And vice versa, if they have a problem. So, it's one of them, this things that's there that maybe, you know, you see it, you don't really see it, but it's being used on a daily basis
I think it's justified.
I'm okay with the scanner and the e-citation program. I think that's
I agree.
brings efficiencies and a whole slew of other return on
And that's
investments.
145 price tag, correct?
100 and what?
145 total,
Yes.
the two.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm in agreement.
EMS.
What about the computer equipment?
No, he's not the computer,
We skip,
The laptop?
the
Well-
119.5?
yeah,
The category above, we didn't get an answer.
Yeah, I didn't know if the mayor
The
needed more
computer,
information.
well, I get that they need new licensing. I understand that. It's kind of a, if
They
they
have no
did their due,
choice.
what? If
They
they
have no
did,
choice,
right, they did the due diligence on it, I guess we could approve it.
I'm good.
I'm
Okay.
comfortable with moving forward.
okay, good.
All of that's on
EMS?
So, just so I'm clear, on the police equipment, the live scan and the e-citation, it's unanimous to go with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Captain, how many new ambulances does the township have?
I believe they recently received 2 ambulances, a large ambulance and a smaller cab ambulance.
So 2 are in service now, 1 is coming online? A third is coming online?
I believe we have 3 total right now.
And then there's a 4th one coming online?
I'm not sure, sir.
Jeff, do we know that?
I think you took delivery of the last one, I believe.
Yeah, we did, the
Yeah.
small cab one, I believe. That's
So-
the- That's the one.
So that's the 3?
Yeah. We've received, I believe, all of our ambulances that were ordered last year.
Okay.
Do we have other ones besides the ones that just came last year?
But we still have I believe, the one that was from the year prior or whatever. So we have, I believe, a total of 3 ambulances.
Are there any recommendations for the equipment on the EMS?
I'm good with passing up on this year for the simple reason is, I mean, we just bought 3. We still have the volunteer ambulances that are in service. And I don't know, is the goal or is the mission every year?
Well, none of the equipment under EMS is vehicles.
Yeah, it's all,
No,
It's all
you-
patient care equipment.
But I was under the impression that the electronic stretcher was for the new ambulance that would be ordered, because they already have, at least what I saw in Howell, the new stretchers in them and the new chair.
I
No?
believe that's to put into the ambulance. I believe it has a regular stretcher right now.
One doesn't have one, are you saying?
I believe one doesn't.
Because we do have some, right? We bought the bariatric one,
Right,
Correct.
and then we bought the other one that's electronic, so would be for the 3rd?
I believe so. People are getting,
No, listen, there's many reasons for it. It's great that the technology is there. A lot of backs went out lifting people on stretchers and chairs,
you don't have to tell me.
so.
Well, hopefully they won't have to lift me again, I hope.
And Jeff, how many dual band radios, do we have that in the sheet?
I don't know. I didn't bring out all this stuff.
And what's an auto pulse system with pass-through? Do you know what that
Sorry?
is? Auto pulse system with pass-through?
I believe that was described as a automatic chest compression machine.
We saw that.
Oh, yeah. I think there were 3 of them, right, was ordered or
Yes,
something
3
like that?
cardiac thumpers.
Can we get one?
You want to have one on each rig. You can't say, hey, come here, I need this for now. And that's the state of the art now, but we're talking, I believe, even the
I saw amazing.
volunteer ones are
Did they use
trying
them?
to get them in.
I saw it. I didn't get on the stretcher, but it was very impressive. Plus, it gives them an opportunity to do something else they need to do for the patient or whatever is happening. I mean,
You get
I-
tired doing CPR on the back of a rig, believe me.
and I would
Even
like somebody to do
15 minutes.
CPR on me the whole way to the hospital. I don't want anybody getting tired.
Okay, then we're okay with all that stuff?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Walsh?
I'm fine.
Then emergency management portable radio upgrades.
They had itemized that the 30,000 was for 4.
I'm not in favor of this year, but
Okay.
that's just my vote.
Anybody else in favor of it?
I said not in favor.
I know.
Oh.
I said, is anybody
Okay.
in
You
favor
don't
of
get
it?
to vote, Mark.
This won't allow them to communicate with the police department.
So it's a necessity.
Can I add to that, please?
Yes.
With due respect, having worked with the OEM for probably 29 years out of my 38 year, they've been left outside of the loop. And they're the ones that, when certain things go bad, everybody gets on top of them and say, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? They need certain things to do their jobs. One of them is communications. The radios that they...
Excuse me, remember they said that when they were here.
Yeah. One of the things that radio be used for is that in the United States as well in New Jersey, the majority of public safety entities are going over to the 700 megahertz band, which is what we went to, which is the state P6 system. And for them to be able to communicate with us in times of need is very beneficial. And with due respect to everybody there, I think it is a necessity. And that's all I wanted to add.
Okay? With everybody?
Okay. This is other building and grounds projects. The only recommendation is for the generator.
You've skipped a page.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Fire
Bureau.
They need that gear, they told us.
Yes, they did.
You need it, you need it.
Okay?
Okay. So,
Public Works, you took everything out except for the one front-end loader, Mr. Mayfield?
That's correct.
under the Fire Bureau, I just want to clarify, are we going with the manager's recommendation or with the request?
Turnout gear was the same price. Oh, no, I'm sorry,
I'm not going for the other 43,000,
Okay,
just
so manager's
12,400.
recommendation.
12.4.
Thank you.
It was a difference in $150 from what they requested to what the manager.
43,000.
No, the second.
Typo.
No, the 12,250 versus the 12,400. You're talking about for the
The 43,000.
the safety house.
Yes,
Yeah, he removed that.
yeah.
But we're going with the recommendation of the manager, I thought what the
Yes.
question was, for the
Yes.
12,400.
For the 12.4.
Yes.
The front loader, I believe we were told it was like a 1990,
It's 21 years old.
21.
It's
No,
got
that's not.
13,000 hours, and the average life is 10,000 hours.
It was a very good year, though. It was a good year.
Thank you, Captain.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good,
Cap.
Stay safe out there.
We're trying.
I have a question. I don't know why I didn't ask it then, but I thought we already had a brine-making machine or system. I thought we voted on that 4 years ago or something.
Weren't we getting it from the county?
No, we have a brine machine now, don't we?
No, we have a brine storage.
We have storage. Well, you know,
Yeah.
it's-
I'm telling you, we voted. I know we did. 4 years. I
No.
think it was 4 years ago. Making system.
I think we were getting it from the county and storing it here, correct
That's
answer?
correct.
No.
That's correct.
I'm telling you, that's what we've
I'm
been
telling you
doing.
we voted
Everybody can
for
say
it.
no
I'm
all they
telling you what
want.
they're doing.
But he's not recommending it. Are we good with the front loader?
I didn't say that, but I'm just saying, I think we were getting it from the county.
Yeah,
Because I
okay.
remember a couple of years ago, we needed brine, the county didn't have no more, so we weren't able to go get it and store it here, so. If we had a brine machine, we would have been asking for the county for the brine. That's all.
It's good to
I'm
have a
not saying
shared,
they ever put it in, but we voted for it, is what I
Okay.
said.
it's a good for a shared service. So we're okay with the front loader, Mr. Mayfield?
Yeah.
Yes.
I recommend it.
Okay.
Security enhancement, that's some of what we've already done with the
Where are you?
executive officers?
This is,
Improvements to buildings.
this is separate because it'll include several of the other buildings that are not including this one.
Okay.
It's been requested, that was requested, we modified that from the original one because there were a few different departments that were requesting separate things. We combined it all into one, just so we have a little bit of flexibility in a sense to work where it's needed in the different buildings. We just turned it with all the municipal buildings. For bonding purposes, it will work.
Jeff, in last year's budget, did we approve money for like cameras and stuff like that?
We did, for this building.
For
And
this
they're
building.
actually in.
The cameras are in? So are these security enhancements needed this year, or can they wait?
It depends who you talk to. Yeah,
Talking to the manager.
The department, you know, it's all, really, it's all a matter, if you want to tighten up the other buildings where there are none, or not.
What other municipal buildings are you referring to?
The old tavern complex is the primary one. There were requests at the police department, there's been a request through the year at the senior center, and at the Department of Public Works on Old Tavern Road.
Is the library included in that?
No.
They didn't request it.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh.
I'm not in favor of, I'm not,
Just asking the question.
I mean, is what we have, is it acceptable? Or does somebody just want more?
It's a matter of opinion, Mr. Walsh. It's a matter of how much you want the security in place or not. It really does. That's a tough one to say. I mean, there's some things, what we did in this building that was approved last year, those were a necessity. Hands down, they were a necessity.
I understand that, and I was in agreement with it.
I know. And again, I think that for many reasons, they're very valid reasons. That's why it was left in there.
You know, there's valid reasons for a lot of things that are asked for. But we got away with the taxpayers saying, we don't want to spend more money.
I understand.
We have to weigh it with that.
I understand.
I mean, that's why, I mean, if what they have is acceptable, then I'm against the $100,000 being spent. If you tell me the $100,000 that you want for the security enhancement is a necessity, has to be had, then I'm for it. But I need somebody to tell me whether that's true, whether it has to be gotten or it wants to be gotten. And there is a difference in life.
I agree.
Does it has to be, or is it wanted?
It's really going to depend who you talk to.
Well, I'm asking you. You're the manager, I'm asking you.
It can wait, and we'll just remain status quo.
That's all I needed. I'm a no for the 100,000.
I'm a no, and I'll tell you the truth. If I was gonna spend 100,000, I own no securities issue. For 3 years, I've been asking for improvements on certain traffic enhancements. We made some progress. We bought some digital readers, displays. You know, we had a discussion. Some people say it was only this year, but I checked my records, it wasn't. With the flashing stop signs, high visibility, you know. Those items never make it into the budget.
Or they do, and all of a sudden they never got.
You know, at what point do we say, hey, you know, this is what we're hearing? I mean, the mayor and I just had a meeting with, you know, about traffic issues in Ramtown, and we hear them all other times. I'm not sure those are the answers, but
Listen, if this had to be done, I'd be for it. If it doesn't have to be done, we all
I like
have,
to propose that we add $30,000 into the budget, being that we're removing some of these items, and get these flashing stop signs. And let the police department put them where they feel is the best place to put them.
No problem.
What's that going to buy, Rob? How many?
I think the price was $3,000
Like 2 or
each.
3,000 each.
So you're
I
gonna
see
get-
that one
you're
at
gonna-
Stewart's every time I come on the Georgia Tavern off of 9. If it says I'm going 42, I
That's
slow
different.
down.
No,
That's
that's not
different.
the same thing.
That's
This is
the-
just a regular stop sign.
These are stop signs that in
flashes
the-
that you see it.
That high
But I mean,
vision.
anything like that is, anything like that, it's a, it does, it points something out.
I
And if
agree.
you're cognizant of it and you see it, I mean, I come off on the Georgia Tavern off 9, I see I'm going 42, whoa, I know it's a 40-mile-an-hour speed. You know?
It also takes a picture of your license, by the way.
You know, stuff like that happens. It's okay. I've been good so far. Echo Lake, we don't have no choice, the 80,000, we just put in new floors. Correct answer, Mr. Mayfield?
That's correct.
How can we have a, that's beyond me.
We don't
But we-
need a conversation.
Yeah.
It's a
Keep
yes.
going. Yes, for
Next.
everybody. Senior citizens, do they get their kitchen improvements?
Jeff, what did we approve in the last budget for, I know there was the whole discussion with the hood, the grease hood or something like that, and there was some improvements for bathrooms, but I thought there was some,
The bathrooms were done, I'm not sure if they, was there anything with the kitchens done?
We did the
George,
doors, we did other things with
I
the
don't think
seniors,
any
we did with the
kitchen, though.
ramps.
We didn't do anything with the kitchen.
We put a bunch of money in the last couple of years, but
$16,000 doesn't buy too much, so we can give them $16,000.
and wasn't there discussion that the company that does some of the cooking there was gonna donate?
I never heard that.
maybe they're donating 150, the
providing
manager already
service to
took
us.
out.
If they're providing a service to us, I can't imagine they're gonna give us money too.
So you wanna do the kitchen, but we don't wanna do anything with the parking lot?
No, they can't anyway. She wants people to take the trees out and put a parking lot there. If you take the trees out, the hill's gonna just slide right down.
No, not that. What about the?
That $150,000 was for the lower parking lot that's gonna get you
Right.
about 6 spots, maybe.
Yeah, the six
That's
spots.
For
what,
$150,000,
Where
I
the
didn't think
trees
that was
are.
very cost effective.
Why does it cost
25,000 a spot, there better be some awful nice cars. I don't know what else to say about that.
I think we should
okay,
not go with the parking.
no parking
No
lot.
parking.
Why don't we go to the top lot where it will be $100 a spot?
Yeah.
Are the kitchen improvements approved?
Yes, right?
Yeah,
Okay for the kitchen.
Do we need to improve the kitchen there?
Yes.
Just ask.
she wouldn't ask for it. They do a lot of cooking, they do a lot of food service
Yeah.
there for the seniors. I mean, if you want to tell them no, Mayor, you feel free.
I'm just asking the question.
You know, you're allowed to ask the question, you're allowed to make a statement too.
I believe I do.
You got that big boss sign in front of you, Mayor Teresa Berger is what I'm saying.
That's exactly what you're saying. Okay, DPW garage improvements.
I think that was already discussed. There was no option in that, right?
Right.
No,
And
no,
if
no,
you
no.
are, we have no choice,
Right.
right?
So the locker, this is what confuses me. The locker room and break room, $50,000 in DPW, and how much are we spending in the police department? 180?
180. Well, that's why I asked, what were the
I know why
the
you
specs on the
asked.
square?
I know why you asked.
You know, I don't know if we're comparing apples to apples, not knowing the
Well, I'd like to
differences.
know if you're passing $150,000 of taxpayers' money, and you're right, I don't have that answer. That's why I voted no.
We're okay with this?
Yeah, well, I think we had no choice when it came to DPW with the fuel island, so
Right,
I'm not gonna,
okay.
What
What-
about the locker room and break room upgrades?
That was the time you showed us the pictures of the sewer in there?
Yes,
Right.
it was.
yeah, what choice you have?
I didn't think,
Gotta do it. Okay, improvements to OEM building.
Just had that conversation with OSHA.
Yeah.
It's been 13, 14
This
years.
has been a 10-year project.
It's been 13, 14.
Why is that, Mr. Manager?
Every
why
year.
does it take it so long?
Yeah.
Because every time it gets to the budget process, it gets cut.
There was no money. I'll admit I voted no on it about 8, 9 years
All right, are
straight.
you voting yes tonight?
No, I'm still voting no, but you know, the rest of you have your own choices here.
I'm not voting 240,000. I think we should do it. Listen, Jeff, what's left over? They did sheet rock in there? I mean, I haven't been in that.
We had this priced out. We've attempted to do this in-house. We do not have the capabilities to do it. I believe when we had this conversation last year, I let everybody know that we had very unrealistic expectations as Mr. Herman. We attempted to do it anyway, and it failed.
And how far did we get?
There is some sheetrock in there. There were some, the garage doors were put in, but they're not wired. There's duct work, there's electrical work that has to be done.
We didn't have the manpower or the knowledge.
No, they have the knowledge. These guys are good.
Yes, we do. But I think the issue is it'll go over the bid threshold. And it has to go out to bid.
Tell me we could do this for less than 240,000, please. Tell me. That's an awful lot of money. You can build a house for $240,000. You can build a 2,500 square foot home for $100 a square foot.
This has already been priced out from a state contract vendor that coordinates it and would help to coordinate the work in conjunction with our DPW still.
That just kills me.
Jeff, did you say that in coordination with, and it's still 240,000?
DPW would still be doing some of the work as well.
We probably got over 100,000 into it already. Well over 100,000.
We had a lot of
If
money.
you start from the beginning, definitely.
Absolutely.
This started in around 2002, 2003, I believe.
Amazing.
I think it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been up here. That was 2005, so we've been having these conversations a long time, Jeffrey.
So what are we doing tonight?
A lot of money.
Finish it.
I just don't see 240. I mean, can we do it over a rollout of, Jeff, 240 doesn't get anyone in the door under 240?
The problem is the aggregate cost to do it piecemeal like that goes above the bid threshold. So once you're committed, you almost have to, you have to finish it. That's where we found ourselves this year, even though they put a few months of work into it, that's where we're at.
It's a lot of money.
Can we meet the OSHA threshold with less money?
No, you said
How many different ways you want me to tell us no?
No.
I mean, it's either yes or no
They
now.
don't want to hear no from us.
How many different ways?
200.
One more.
240 or nothing. That's what we have in front of us.
I'm not in favor.
The only problem is this was to put $175,000 ambulances. There's no room at the police department anymore, so they want to move the EMS over there, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
They're still sharing it with the Office of Emergency Management. And we've been sitting on this project for 15 years.
I'll vote yes.
I'm a yes, painfully,
15 years, huh?
but I would like to take something else out.
I'm okay with that. I'm a yes.
Like what?
Okay. We've taken quite a bit, all those vehicles, we've taken quite a bit out.
Carry on.
How about, okay, the courts, police and courts.
We're at the library.
No, the library, he's taking
Nothing,
everything
totally
out.
taken out.
Take it out.
I'd like to reduce the 180. I mean, I don't understand, just 180. You could build a,
Plumbing is
What-
expensive.
I'm not going there. I'm not going. I'm staying out of this conversation.
Do you want to hear no?
Okay? You can,
roof snow guards,
That's a lot of
including in the
money.
library, $120,000.
what is that? I mean,
So the snow don't fall on someone's head.
so the snow
Correct.
doesn't fall off the
It's
roof.
actually so it doesn't tear off the fascia when the snow comes down in one piece. We had some pretty serious damage this last year as a result of not having them.
And we can't buy pieces in, I'm not being funny.
No,
I saw pieces in Home Depot for $12.
I think it's a little bit different.
I know, it's government.
Again,
You can't make this up.
you know, I think we can go another year without the roof snow guards. They said it, we got global warming. That's what Al Gore tells me. I saw them on TV the other day.
That doesn't mean it won't snow.
Can we put a snow fence up?
Try.
November 1st.
Well, I'll vote for one or the other, the bathroom and shower upgrades and the snow guards. I'm not voting for both.
I'll go with the shower upgrades.
I'll go with the shower upgrade.
And what about security enhancements to the police department, which
We
is
just
another
said no.
35?
We just said
Okay,
no
so
to
we're going for
security.
180,
This is,
and that's it, right?
that's it.
180 for the showers. Everybody will be happy. Everybody will make do. We had no choice with the generator. We went through that, correct, Mr. Mayfield?
Correct.
So we had no choice.
Well, engineering is left.
I'll be adamant, we gotta authorize the dredging of Aldrich Lake. If we don't get the,
We're going to lose it.
if we don't get the permits in time, we don't have to bond for
I
it.
got the information. I was just waiting to get to here. We don't have the permits. We should have them within 3 weeks, and we fully anticipate being able to have it awarded by September and the work done this year.
There
Okay.
you go, there's the answer.
Yeah, I'm not letting that turn into a swamp. Those people over there that live there do not deserve that to end up being a mosquito-infested swamp,
Agreed.
okay?
You,
So,
you keep saying the people, but it goes beyond the people.
It's everybody, it's
You know,
everything, it's all about.
Yeah.
That's right. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I weighed heavy on my heart a few years ago, but there really was no money. You know, and there was nothing I could do. And I didn't like it then, I knew it would get worse.
Bear Swamp, we have to,
The
we're in the middle
dam,
of that?
yeah, we have to do that.
We have
That's a, yes.
nothing with the dam. We gotta do the apron and the curb program on Salem Hill there.
Jeff, what's the note with New Jersey American Water? Are they offsetting some of those costs? I believe that's the reason, right?
That's correct.
That's why it's only the 500 versus over $1 million.
Correct, and we're going to get a lot of our bang for our buck there.
Gotcha.
Just like we did last year through several of the developments and stuff.
And it really has made a difference, too.
It did, it was pretty
Big
good.
There's some
difference.
people over there, and
That's called proper planning.
well, thank you, Deputy Mayor, for that.
You're welcome. I'm good with this list.
I am too. Everything on the list? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not against anything. It has to be done.
Everybody else? We're all okay?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Fine.
That's done.
And then Jeff, just the sewer utility?
Yep.
Yes.
I like that lower sewer bill I just got in the mail for like $128, because it was 2 quarters, right?
That's good.
It was very nice. Very happy about that. Thank
What's
you
it-
all for that.
What is a jet truck?
Cleans out the pipes. That's been a request for years. I'm still not in favor of it now, but,
Oh, I think they need it. They've
well,
been
we
promised that for
talked about the
so
camera, we talked about a camera truck, right? We got them the camera truck. I mean, for the amount, I don't know, guys, I don't know. It's $375,000.
It is a lot of money, but it's also probably about a 15-year
Yeah,
life,
at
and it makes
least.
a lot of difference.
Yes.
So we're talking $25,000 a year. It's something that does make a lot of difference in their effectiveness and their efficiencies in doing their job. And that's what we talked about when this came up.
And I think they need it.
You know, I'm not gonna make a pro or con, but, you know, we sometimes spending some money up front saves a lot of money in the long run.
That's right.
And that's part of our job also. The laterals, there was nothing, they have to be done.
The I agree on. The Woodburn station, I'm assuming, Jeff, is a pumping station?
Yeah, that's a necessity.
So that has to be done. And I don't know what a SCADA system is. I don't recall what that was.
I think they get everything.
It's an acronym for supervisory control and data acquisition. I believe it's like a master central controller and monitors a lot of their
Or remotely, that's what it was.
remotely
They were able to
monitors.
check on a lot of the
Systems for
alarms
the
and
pu-
things.
I remember that.
remotely.
I do remember that. I do remember
All
that.
right, let's go with the whole list.
And you gotta remember, the sewer utility fund is it's gonna be coming from the sewer, it's not gonna be coming, we're not gonna be bonding ourselves.
Okay.
Lou, can I ask you a question? How much do we have coming off the books this year? We have any bonds coming off the books this year?
Not this year, no, sir.
How about next year, my friend?
Not this year. Not next year as well. Our next debt to come off the books will be in the 2022 budget year.
Oh, and that's when, how much, 18 million comes off, something like that?
Approximately would be a $2 million
A year,
bond and interest payment a year in 2022.
in 2022.
Figure it out.
All right,
Lou, would it be easy, while we're continuing the meeting, to give us a number of what the budget would be?
With the capital we just approved. And you're adding in 10 signs.
but you only can on a band,
At 30,
because we're not bonding it yet, so he's only gonna do it on a bond anticipation note.
Yeah, I just want to know what the difference is from what the original number was to what we've approved.
Oh, you want on a monthly, the yearly
No, I just want to know what the
payments
capital, the improvement number is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I could do that while we're...
Thank you.
was that 30,000 on the stop sign lights?
Well, he's figuring.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a minute, if I could have a minute to answer, a person, a kindly person who always signed themselves concerned taxpayer. This is the only avenue I have to answer since that person didn't have the courtesy to come up and speak to me or call me. I'm always available to everybody. This person doesn't understand how I could question the fact that the budget was cut too much. I didn't say the budget was cut too much. My concern was that certain items were cut that I think would get us into trouble, or could get us into trouble. For instance, things like gasoline and sand for the roads. When you cut things like that, and it comes along the end of the year, maybe October and September with hurricanes, and November and December with snow and ice, and those particular things we'd be short of, and we'd have to borrow the money. There's provision in the law for it. It's an emergency appropriation, but then next year's budget would be even higher because we'd have to pay that money back with interest. That's what I was concerned with, the budget.
What about this one? With the police officers eating lunch and dinner?
Yeah. Too much. Please, next time, just come up and ask me.
Okay, so,
And I think we should remember things like this when we're concerned about people's complaints. Some of them are justified.
at this point, I'd like to open up to the citizens in the facility for our consent agenda items only.
It's for both, Mayor. Our hearing the citizens
Okay.
is for both.
Virginia Woolley, Tara Donlin. They're on the same.
Hi, I'm Virginia Woolley, and I live at 158 Belmar Boulevard.
Ms. Woolley, can you just make sure the mic is on? There's a button on the base, yeah? You feel it? No, a little up, a little up.
Red. Look right here. Look at me. See this button right there? Should be in front of you.
We're very high-tech, Mrs. Woolley.
There you go. You're good to go.
Okay, Virginia Woolley, 158 Belmar Boulevard in Howell. I was here a year ago, and I offered to work on opening the Mackenzie Museum, and I was told I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm here tonight to know the status of the building. Can anyone on the council tell me what's happening there? I hope it's being supported. I mean, I never heard what the problems were. I'd be willing to do fundraising or anything. I feel that I am obligated to work on this building because I was the one that asked a woman to give it to the township back in '82. So,
There has been an investigation, engineer's report, that should be available to you, but it's quite extensive. It's very, very, very expensive.
where would I get that?
I'm sure that's available to the public, wouldn't it be?
Yes, we get that for you, Mr. Woolley.
Is there anyone that I could talk to see? I mean, I know a lot of people. I know people who would like to help
Well, we,
in a thing like this.
we approved a resolution so that we can accept money if you, in a trust fund, yeah, from the public. Anybody that would want to donate or help in
Like
some way.
a mason that could be willing to give his time
It was a
to.
lot of money, the estimates, in order to shore up that building and make it safe.
Yeah, Lou, what is the status of the account that we had tried to put into place for the Mackenzie House?
I'm sure it's zero.
I double-checked the other day, the state hasn't approved our dedicated by rider, and I sent an email to them to confirm that they did receive it, but there is no reason why we couldn't accept those donations as
At
we
this
said,
time.
we just, yeah.
So as
We
well
can
as
accept-
money, are we in a position then to accept donations of time or materials?
When I was president of the Howell Historical Society, the town had people who had DUIs and that kind of thing. I had a lot of them working. I mean,
We did that then. We don't seem to do that currently.
you don't do that anymore with the township? They don't do service? Yeah. No one does that?
We're looking into that, but
I know when I was on council last time, we did that. We did they helped with all the buildings and
Right.
grounds.
They help with general cleanup and stuff. They don't do any of the technical work. They do general cleanup work around the.
But community service is a process that has to go through the court system, and I know the
Correct.
judges,
Well, I think certain programs are approved, so I don't think this has anything to do with whether or not the township approves it. It has to do whether or not it is a court-approved, I believe.
court-approved and
Organization.
office of probation was what I was told. So we're going through that process.
So the DUI laws get a little bit more complicated.
Now, who took George Gavat's place?
You
Is
just
he
met him, Paul Novello.
He's just left. I don't see him now.
Okay, so I was, if I hear or get any help from anybody, who would I contact?
You can make your initial contact with me, Mr. Woolley, and we can go from there.
Okay, I guess that's it. I feel obligated because of this friend of mine that gave the house to the township, and I hope that because the chimney is the problem, the big problem that I see from outside, and I don't believe that chimney has anything connected to it. The house will never be historic perfect, so I would feel you could just remove the chimney and support the building, so,
When you see when you see the engineering report, it's a little bit more than that, man.
Yeah, it was floor joists, there was a lot to it.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was shocking. It really was. Very upsetting.
So no one's going in the building now at all?
No, we were told that with just a couple of people at a time, it was perfectly safe, but we couldn't, like, have the school children, or we weren't open for the
tour.
The county tour. We just the schoolhouse, because.
Well, I almost got in trouble when I applied for that grant, because I know I only got the $4,500, but they didn't know, and they didn't say on the grant form, was the building open? And they found out later that the
Well,
building
at
was
that
not open
time-
to the public.
Well, at that time, it was only closed because it was being painted. We didn't find this until later. It started to crack around the chimney. Now, that's two separate issues. It was open to the public then, just closed temporarily because of the painting.
Okay, well, the building does look nice, and I thank you for putting that money into it, but I do think we should try and get it open to the public. The taxpayers paid for the restoration, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you going to pick up the report, Mrs. Woolley, so that,
Yes, I will.
okay.
Thank you.
Jerry Dixell?
I'm going to give my turn to my wife.
Oh.
Okay. So we're going to have a double time, a Barbara double time?
Barbara wasn't leaving until she was done anyway. Jerry didn't need to give her time.
According to Robert's
make it as
rules,
fast
we
as
have no
possible.
choice.
Well, she's wearing the laser gate from there.
Yeah, oh, she
As
told
you
you?
see, I'm wearing everything from
Nice,
Yes, ma'am.
beautiful. They stayed fresh, they're gorgeous.
nice.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Barbara Dixell, 62A Piazza Vittoria, Freehold, New Jersey. I'm going to talk as fast as I can, to make it easier for you.
Thank you.
The Mayor and Council Manager, Howell Township, from Barbara Dixell, please note the following. On Sunday, June 4th, Jerry and I attended the Barnegat Bay Festival overlooking Barnegat Bay in Island Heights, New Jersey. The Brick MUA sponsored the event. All watershed groups demonstrated to the public things to do to protect the Metedeconk River watershed and maintain the health of Barnegat Bay. On June 8th, Jerry and I attended the Metedeconk River Watershed Protection and Restoration Plan Implementation Committee meeting held at the Brick MUA Township, at Brick MUA. It was chaired by Robert Carl of the Brick MUA. There are 3 items on the agenda that affect Howell. Moses Mills Drive Stormwater Basin Retrofit, Howell. Burn Tavern Road Stormwater Improvement Brick, Howell. Freewood Acres Sewer Extension, Howell. Number 5, Rob Carl of Brick MUA gave us all a copy of a resolution for the adoption and endorsement of the Metedeconk River Water Protection and Restoration Plan. Brick Township has already passed it. Rob Carl asked us to take the resolution back to our governing bodies and ask them to pass it. Howell was a key participant in the development of the plan. Robert Carl told me today that I was an important part of the process from the very beginning, and that Jim Herman was also. I am giving you the documents, including the presentations from the meeting. The minutes of the meeting are presently being drafted and will be distributed upon completion. Mr. Mayfield, please be sure to copy all of this information for the council. Steve Taylor was very active in the Manasquan River Watershed Authority, but he moved to Maryland years ago. Howell is in both the Manasquan River Watershed and the Metedeconk River Watershed. Please do something to support the Manasquan River Watershed as well, because the Manasquan River is the hole in the C1 and is not a C1 waterway. So this is all, Mr. Mayfield, this is all for you.
Okay.
This is the whole thing. Please be sure the council gets it.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. I will.
Okay? Next, I'm going to talk about, real quick, and then I'm going to address Mayor Berger. To the mayor and council, I'm asking the governing body tonight, the Township of Howell, to pass a resolution or ordinance that says veterans, all military, male, female, and their families should be given the respect that's due them. Please read the documents. I have a whole list of things included in here. Veterans have served their country and they still suffer unnecessary hardships. They wait long periods of time to see a doctor, and some die while waiting to see a doctor. And they have health and mental issues and lose limbs and other serious injuries. They have financial and family problems. One thing that a veteran, member of active military, or family member should never have to face is to ask for a discount and be told they need to join and pay membership dues to a private money-making veterans group called Veterans Advantage. Lots of businesses and corporations belong to this group, so if you are not a dues-paying member of Veterans Advantage and you want to ask for a business for a
Corporation for a veteran's discount, you won't get it. Jerry and I just went through this. We took a short family trip for several days, and we were told that the airline and car rental were members of Veterans Advantage, and since we were not members, we could not get the veterans discount. What a disgrace. When is the abuse of veterans going to stop? Our veterans, our military, and their families have given enough of themselves and have suffered enough. They have served their country with dignity and honor, and it is now time for us all, and all businesses and corporations in the United States of America, to give respect to our veterans and military who continue to serve, sacrifice, and give of themselves so that we can all be free. I am asking the Township Council of Howell to pass a resolution regarding respect for our veterans, our active military, and their families. I have asked U.S. Congressman Chris Smith to act on this letter and information that I gave him, and that I also am giving you. I gave a copy to Christine Hanlon, Monmouth County Clerk. It is my opinion we need a nationwide boycott of this Veterans Advantage group. I'm giving you this. It is really astounding. You have to belong. For 1 year membership, $59. 3 year membership, $149.95. 5 year membership, $199.99. It's insane. A lot of corporations and businesses are members of this. It's not fair. It's just absolutely not fair that a veteran who served his country and gave of himself and whatever and suffered all kinds of hardships has to be told you cannot get a discount or a simple
Excuse me,
airline or
Barbara,
anything else.
it's not fair, but what can we do about it?
Just, all I'm asking you for nothing is you've given enough respect for veterans with the employment and everything else. Just some kind of a resolution that will say, maybe if you want to, that the veterans should be given respect. I don't care. I'm giving this to you. Read it, look at it, see what you want to do with it. I'm giving it to you.
So I think the question is where, if we, adopt a resolution, then where would you want it to go?
I don't know. The Department of Veterans Affairs.
Give it to Barbara, she'll disperse it.
No, Departments of Veterans Affairs, and like I say, I've already given this whole entire thing to Congressman Chris Smith and Christine Hanlon, and maybe you can talk to them as to what they think, but Christine Hanlon's the veterans lady in Monmouth Township, Monmouth County, so, I would talk to her. But this is just a very interesting thing, and it's really upsetting, so
It doesn't say anything about
I'm just giving this to you with the letter I gave him, and that's it. And the next thing I want to address is to Mayor Berger, thank you and bless you for attending the American Cancer Society Walk for Life event that was held Friday, June 9th, on the Howell Township Howell High School baseball field. The ACS is wonderful, and they are at the forefront of raising funds that will be used for the purpose of finding a cure for cancer. Let's hope it's this year. The ACS Relay for Life is a very meaningful and emotional event for all of us cancer survivors, because we deal with this every day and work hard trying to regain our health and strength and stay cancer-free. Each of us was personally recognized, given a T-shirt, a medal, hand-knit scarf, and a flower, and a survivor's discount, a survivor's dinner in the school. Mayor Berger, my sincerest thanks again for coming to the ACS Relay Walk for Life, and bless you for your thoughtfulness and emotional gesture of giving me your personal flowers that you were wearing. They are beautiful. I am returning your thoughtfulness and emotional gesture to me with brownies that I baked for you today. Please do not go home without them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Say, it's indoor recreation.
And I'm wearing the medals, I'm wearing my shirt.
You're jingling.
I'm jingling. This is a shirt. The medals on the side, and these are the medals that we were all given.
Basketball,
And this is for you.
volleyball, all kinds of
Just read all this wonderful stuff and just see.
facilities, even indoor football.
That was the history, right? Okay. And this, thank you very much. What I want to do with this,
Yes.
we're talking about history and school kids. As you know, I've done this history of
Gone.
Howell a couple of times, and McKenna has it in her closet. So what I said to Mr. Isola in the superintendent of Howell Schools, I said, you have enough history in Howell that's so historic, and many, many years, from the day of February 12, 1659, when the Estelle family landed in Howell, and William Estelle's wife gave birth to the first child that landed on this boat that day. So I have the whole history of Howell, all kinds of stuff in here, and I want Mr. Isola to give this history lesson out to the school. Let each grade or do something. I keep telling him this, and I said, so I have asked McKenna for this. God bless you for giving it to me. I will have this copied again, and I will give this file back to McKenna. But I'm going to sit down with Mr. Isola and make sure that every kid that attends a school in Howell knows the history of Howell, because Howell Township is that historic. And I've also given him, as Paulie knows, the 1889 historic map that says Blue Bull and Turkey and all this other wonderful stuff on it. That's all part of Howell that nobody knows. So,
Thank you,
again,
Barbara.
I want every kid that goes to school in this town to know that Howell has a very historic history.
I agree. Thank you.
What I want them to do is make a presentation at here or at a school, and each grade get together and give their presentation of some part of these documents.
That's a great idea.
Thank you all very, very much. I appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
will take care of this with Mr. Isola in the schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen Johnson?
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and town manager. Steve Johnson, Brickyard Road in Howell. First, let me thank the town council and the administration for the 2 recent public meetings regarding affordable housing and that you provided to help inform Howell residents about the background, the current status, and the future choices we have that we're facing. We all know now that the past action or current inaction of the state legislature is the root cause of this issue, and that the courts have been forced to step in to provide the political cover for the legislature so they can continue, irrespective of political party, to take hefty campaign donations from developers and builders to the potential detriment of our communities. Having cited this painful truth of a broken political system, there is a need for affordable housing statewide. Whether it is for veterans who get first preference, senior citizens, recent college graduates, single moms, low-income or entry-level employees starting at around $30,000 a year, and that applies to some entry-level teachers and also entry-level police officers. And of course, Jane and Johnny, who are still living in their parents' basement. These needs exist in most towns, including Howell. This is not about the body snatchers coming to Howell from somewhere else in the solar system. It is about the economic realities of finding affordable rental and housing for folks in New Jersey. Howell's history as a basic farming community has been slow to develop over decades, until recently, and most of that was attributable to the lack of infrastructure such as sanitary sewers, public water, and substandard roads. The zoning and supporting ordinances have also had to evolve as population growth occurred. Most folks came to Howell because it was a laid-back, rural environment, and Howell has tried to preserve that environment with strict ordinances governing setbacks, density, height restrictions, etc. But progress and change does not wait for anyone. Affordable housing and ordinance changes are just such ongoing challenges. We do have choices. We have to either move out of New Jersey or adopt with changes. We are repeatedly faced with pressure to approve for affordable housing. Should it be rental, owner-occupied units? Should it be pilot units from a program? geared to help Superstorm Sandy victims. Should we do a traditional housing with a set-aside percentage of substandard affordable units, or should we do nothing and potentially face builders' remedy lawsuits? All these choices have trade-offs. Traditional requires more units to meet the state mandate versus a pilot program and rentals which can offer a 2-for-1 credit while minimizing development, which is something we're all interested in doing in Howell. Or we can roll the dice and face costly lawsuits worth millions of taxpayer expenses, not to mention the nullification of our zoning in Howell. I believe there is a need within Howell for affordable housing, and I also believe that the council heard the public's input at our recent meetings and have chosen a responsible decision to move forward with the least impactful solution, that while a 2-for-1 credit development is still available, a choice of 72 units versus approximately 715 units, the biggest bang for the buck with the least impact, while showing the courts that Howell is doing the good faith effort to meet the state mandate on affordable housing. This choice helps to protect Howell from future builders' remedy lawsuits. It's time for Howell to show some leadership rather than political expediency. So I'm supporting what you have on your agenda tonight to move forward with affordable housing and also make revisions to our ordinances to protect Howell going forward from a zoning and a development standpoint. So I commend you for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna say this last name, and please, I'm sorry. Michael San Clemente?
San Clemente.
You did good, man.
Thank you, sir. I've been practicing for 5 minutes.
I butchered some names.
Thank you. Michael St. Clemente, 7 Derringer Drive, and you said that correctly, Mayor Berger. So you just listened to what Mr. Johnson was talking about, and especially the politics. Last November, you were elected mayor. Your campaign was going to stop affordable housing and development. So my question is a very simple one. What is your plan?
It was not to stop. I cannot stop affordable housing. That is a mandate from the state. I cannot stop that. What I ran on was high-density housing, that I would not, personally would not approve high-density housing units. That's what I ran on.
That was affordable housing, though. You did mention affordable housing.
High-density. Affordable housing is
affordable
something
housing.
that the state of New Jersey
Yes,
is imposing upon us.
I understand that.
So I can go fight the governor.
But you did run
I ran on
affordable
I ran
housing.
on
You were going to stop affordable housing.
high-density housing.
Affordable housing.
High-density housing. Now, whether that is affordable or not affordable, to me, high-density housing is huge clusters of homes in one area. That's high-density housing, which I do not approve.
But if it's affordable housing, will you approve it or not approve it?
If it's high-density, I will not approve it.
But
Personally.
The question I'm asking is, if it's affordable housing, will you approve it or not approve it?
So
but
affordable-
My question is, as a Democrat, as a liberal Democrat, this program, affordable housing, created by the Democratic Assembly, the Democratic Senate, enforced by the liberal judges. Now, especially tonight, there's going to be 2 ordinances. Will you be voting for it or against it?
I will be voting when the vote is taken.
Which is,
When we vote, I will vote. I will not vote for high-density housing.
well, like I said, this is affordable housing, and,
I think I've answered your question.
well, let's see what happens when you do the vote, because...
Affordable actually is relative to the houses next to it, right? So you could have $500,000 homes, and next to it in the same development, a home is $300,000. That's affordable.
Yes, and there's also what's going on at West Farms is also affordable housing.
When we take the vote, I will vote.
Okay. If you vote against it, just remember that you're going against what your party stands for. Remember, this is a party, this is a political issue.
Not for me.
This is a political issue.
Not for
And
me.
if you vote against it, you're voting against your party. If you vote for it, I would have more respect for you, but I just want to let you know that there are 15 other affordable housing developments. Again, you said you were going to stop the development. It's under your administration, regardless.
My vote, in my opinion, is for what I believe. I have listened to people in the town as I walked, and I will vote with what the people have asked me to do. I'm not voting by party. At this level, I think the vote should be for the township, not for the party.
And voting against it and fighting against it, as Mr.
I
Johnson
believe I've
has said,
answered you.
As Mr. Johnson has stated, will be very costly. And all of us in this room will be paying. The only people that come out on this are the lawyers. They get paid.
11.
And who gets the tax bill? It will be all of us.
Myself
We
included.
just see what happened in, I believe it's Bernardville, $7 million on a religious issue. So it could happen also.
Where did religious come into? I just
No,
talked
I'm
about
just saying,
high-density
as an
housing.
example, As an example,
The chart you're looking for.
it's just a lot of money. And I've been here over 25 years.
So have I.
We've seen that planning boards have gone against the state, and it ends up the taxpayers also. So that's my question. I believe I do have my answer, and thank you very much for your time. And,
Thank you.
Just one more item that I'd like to let all the council know about Public Works. Besides being a driver here, I'm an avid bicyclist. I ride in Monmouth County, Ocean County, Mercer County. I ride a lot around in New Jersey. Howell has the best roads of all these towns.
Thank you.
And if you can just pass that on, I know the two just left, but you can just pass it on to Public Works, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sandra Sully?
I was going to take it out anyway and take it home. Keep it.
Sandra Solly, Birdsall Road, Farmingdale. Some of us are here tonight as longtime Howell Historical members and the last legally elected executive board. 4 years ago, at the general meeting at the last Friday of October, we were informed by the chairman of the trustees that the board would be eliminated because it didn't make any sense to have two boards if there were only 11 members in total. Therefore, there was no activity of day-to-day operations, no membership renewals, no planned speakers, no newsletters, museum not open. We lost all benefits of membership. There were no elections, therefore no elected officials in the last 4 years, as required in our bylaws. According to Robert's Rules of Order, an official serves until replaced. We were not replaced, so Elaine Taylor, Tara Dolan, Sandra Solly, and Mrs. O'Donnell are the official executive board of Howell Historical. We ask that the museum be returned to the original founding member, Virginia Woolley, so she can return it to a fully functioning asset to the township. It will benefit the town economically and socially. I refer to the minutes of February 28, 1983, relating to the lease of Howell Historical for the Mackenzie. It sets guidelines for the lease. Accordingly, the society did not violate the terms. There were several years left on a later lease that would allow us to return to the museum. We have been in and out of that museum for over 20 years. There were no injuries to anyone because of the condition of the building. There were never any reports by Buildings and Grounds that the building was unsafe. So prior to February 7th, 2017, Don Smith brings it to the council's attention that there were structural problems in the basement. These conditions were present
when the building was acquired by the township because there were forced heat in the house. So this was not something done after the building was acquired. So the minutes from 1983, specifically talking about leasing the property to Howell Historical and the guidelines that they can make repairs, improvements, changes, additions, and alterations at its expense, provided, however, no such work shall be undertaken unless same is in conformance with ordinance of the township. So over the years, there was never any applications made for work to be done in the museum. Section 13, lessee shall have the obligation to maintain the premises during the course of the lease and to keep same free and clear of any debris or rubbish, to keep all grass mowed and vegetation and shrubbery in good order. Lessee shall pay for all utilities servicing the subject premises. All improvements, additions, repairs, and the like will become the property of the township. This clause shall not apply to any furnishings or personal property to subject premises which may be removed by lessee at any time. We are being denied access to this building. And I don't know why, because it has nothing to do with the town. This is a private, nonprofit organization which the trustees failed to renew the nonprofit 12 years ago. They didn't pay their $12, so the nonprofit status is gone. In order to reinstate it, they have to pay $275. I personally called the Treasury of New Jersey, and they told me that's what the condition was. So in the meantime, we just feel that that ordinance that was thrown at us that October, 4 years ago, that in Robert's rules, it says you can reconsider a motion, enables the majority in assembly to bring back for consideration a motion which has already been voted on. The purpose of reconsideration is to permit correction of hasty, ill-advised, or erroneous action, or to take into account added information or a changed situation that has developed since the taking of the vote. So I say, according to Robert's rules, which the bylaws in Howell Historical say we go by, if it's not listed in our bylaws, then Robert's rule counts. So I feel that that motion that was made, and it wasn't a motion, we weren't allowed to vote on it. We were just told we were done. We were out. So nothing's been happening for the last 4 years because we aren't in there to do the work. And the trustees, whomever they are, wherever they are, they're not legal because there's been no elections in the last 4 years. So they can't have been elected again. So I don't know who thinks they're a trustee. We don't know that they've paid their dues. We don't know where the money is. A friend of mine left a $30 donation at the schoolhouse on Old Monmouth weekend. Where's that $30 going? Is there a checking account? Who's got it? Who's paying the bills for the fuel oil, for the propane? So there's just a few questions I hope you will consider. And listen to Mrs. Woolley. She's dedicated to restoring this building to its former glory. And I think she's entitled to do it because it was her idea to establish the Historical Society with other people in Howell Township 35 years ago. So thank you.
Thank you.
I need to ask a question about the Historical Society. I was told years ago by a Howell Township resident that the Historical Society was created by ordinance. Can anybody check that? Check your ordinances? Can anybody check, go back, and it was given or checked, given by ordinance? And this person told me specifically that they were a member of that many, many years ago, but that there is an ordinance in Howell that was given or has created this Mackenzie Museum Historical Society. That's all I want to know. Can somebody check the ordinance and see what the story is on that? Thank you.
Thank you. Elaine Taylor?
She'll have as much misinformation as the one before her.
I love this fight.
We got a long ways to go.
Good evening.
Hi.
Elaine Taylor, Maxim Southern Road. Well, that's a tough act to follow because she said everything I'm going to say. So, I'm going to regroup. I was the president of the Howell Historical Society, and I feel really, let me just speak from the heart, I feel really bad that we're not offering any historic education to anyone. The building is supposed to be for research, historic research, and we're not offering that to the public, and I think that's really important. I'm curious to know if any money's been set aside by the township for restoration. Does anyone know if there was a line item budget for that?
Not in this year's budget.
Not in the budget. Okay, so, so any money that is needed for restoring the building needs to be done by fundraising completely? Okay, all right. So.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but wasn't that price tag to fix the building close to almost $3 million?
No.
No, it wasn't that high.
It was
Like
in the
150,000.
I think it was like $150,000
Like
For the McKenna House?
Mackenzie
Yes.
House.
Mackenzie House?
to stabilize it, yes.
So you're saying somewhere around 150,000? And if,
Hold on, I don't know.
No,
There
no,
were
no.
reports given to us.
okay,
I'm not an engineer, structural engineer, anything like that.
Well, that's where I thought it was,
From
there was a
memory, I
lot of
think-
money there
yeah.
for the engineering portion of it.
Yeah.
It was over $1 million.
so if we could discuss this at the next meeting, maybe you could do a little research and that we can have a little talk about it, because 4 years have gone by, and I think it's long enough. I think that we really need to start moving forward with it.
Discuss this at one of a recent meeting,
Several
and,
meetings we've
and
discussed it.
we also discussed that we needed to do some fundraising for it, and if anybody was interested in doing some fundraising, that we would entertain that option. Right now, here it is, you were here this evening, we did go over a budget, we cut line items for current day necessity. So we would have to do some fundraising to make sure that project would go forward.
Okay. All right. Okay. I've said my piece on that. I have one more thing. I always like to come up here and encourage the mayor and council to consider a tiny house movement in our community for those that are on a lower income than your affordable housing status. There are people that have a whole lot less than $300,000 to spend on a home. And most people know Reverend Steve, and he's trying to encourage the community to embrace his tiny house community. And I know that Howell Township has many parcels of land that would be suitable for something like this. So I always like to keep reminding mayor and council that it's very important in the economic times that we're in now to maybe consider writing some legislation that would allow something like this to happen. And I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, I would like to go to the consent agenda items. I'm sorry?
We'd have to close the hearing. Citizens. I didn't hear that you did that.
I'm sorry. I'd like to close this portion of the hearing of citizens and go to consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's move on to consent agenda.
I've forgotten what the number is, but when there's something in a resolution about the auction, the sale of the,
That's 981.
981.
okay, right in the beginning.
Property, vehicles, equipment?
Right.
Yeah, 9A1, page 2.
Yep, there it is. I'm just wondering, since I've never been to one or had anything to do with it, when these things are priced, do you put a minimum price on them? Do we put a minimum price?
I believe that we do, but I can't say for certain, and actually, Mr. Snyder just left who coordinates this.
Well, we don't need to know that to vote, but I don't think.
I'll
But
find out,
I'm
though. I can find
suggesting
that
that
out.
we do very strongly, because I know of a situation which is pathetic, really, but a number of years ago, around 2000 or maybe 1919,
1990?
1999.
Said 1919, I knew you've been around a while.
No, that was, 50 years before I was, 40 years before I was born. There was a very expensive piece of equipment that Don advised them not to get because they would never use it. It was a tester, and they bought it for $300,000. It was not used once, not once. And a couple of years ago, someone I know paid $10 for it and junked it out and made quite a bit of money. Please don't let that happen again. Right?
Fair enough. And I will get you that answer also.
Yeah, we'll
Excuse
be
me?
careful with those minimum.
Yeah.
Mayor, the only one I want to just find out, get some information, 988, the renewal of beverage control licenses. Penny, is this time sensitive? And the reason why I
Yes.
ask, it is time sensitive?
Yes. What's
There is one on there that, in recent history, we've had some issues there. I don't want to,
You'd have to be specific because it is time sensitive. Tonight's tonight. I don't have any reason not to.
I won't pronounce it right, but it's the one on 33, Jeff, the one that we just had some incidents there with some fights.
I understand. It's the
So-
club license.
It's a license,
Okay,
right? They're allowed to serve alcohol there?
right.
I've seen police reports where we've had some
What do you think?
drunkenness and fights,
Right,
and
I have the
obviously someone
proper
just
documents
died
on
there.
their license.
Okay.
But
Well, the reports only come from the fire bureau. Have we gotten any have we received any recommendations from the
And the
police?
health department, there's definitely some requirements that I look for as the clerk to give them their license.
Okay, but that is a problematic area. Is that something that we want to look at, or because they had it for the last X amount of years, we just,
Yeah,
In
I
order to
think,
have their license taken away, you have to go to the ABC.
yeah. I don't think it's our jurisdiction.
Correct.
it might not be our jurisdiction, but don't we have say?
No.
Then why are we approving it?
Because they submitted everything they're required to.
Right, we definitely need to approve the ABC licenses, and as clerk, I have to look for certain criteria. They got their business taxes paid, they passed the health report, and they passed the fire bureau report.
And there's nothing in that,
No, there's nothing
for
about the
public
police
safety or
activities,
public
so
safety, nothing?
it's definitely a different avenue to look at. It certainly, I don't know that it would be under my jurisdiction, but like McKenna said, I might have to second that maybe it's something for the state ABC. It's something to look at. But you're right, it
It's
is
not
time
us, though.
sensitive.
It's not us. It's like we don't have the authority to take away a license of a bar where somebody got drunk, drove, and had a fatal accident. We can't take away that license.
I got you.
That's the ABC's responsibility. It's not ours.
So we just approved the license for Howell Township. That comes from ABC, but ABC has jurisdiction.
Well, the police department has jurisdiction, but we're talking about renewal of licenses.
Nobody's been asked to suspend it, nobody's been asked to revoke it, nothing.
Well, it just came on the agenda, and I'm raising a concern of past history that's been at this location.
Doing it,
Hmm?
if there is an issue, then PD has to at least get in contact with the ABC and get in contact with us.
And we don't know if that's done because no one probably has asked them to do that.
Correct.
You gotta, we're
Correct.
trying to thin ice when we try to make an arbitrary decision about a business and taking away their livelihood.
It's a club. And I'm not suggesting that, but I'm suggesting that there's been issues at this location in the past. And is it something we want to look at? Someone just died there.
There was an issue with another club in Howell a year ago where 2 gentlemen died at 1 o'clock in the morning. You want to take that license too?
I don't know about that, but I don't know what the circumstances are.
That's what I mean. I'm not going to be the judge and jury of those circumstances. So,
Well, maybe we can find out if there's anything from the ABC that would encourage us to check for safety issues, i.e. AKA police
I'll do more
issues.
homework. I'm okay with passing this, but I'll do more homework.
I know that at that location, there have not been many calls to PD, with the exception of that one incident. They've already looked into it.
Okay.
Or any other.
I'd like to bring up 9837. We just approved in capital $255,000 for the replacement of the fuel island. And now I see 9837, an awarded contract for fueling facility upgrades for $295,000.
But that, remember, that's been removed from the agenda.
Okay, so
And that'll be, I think they want to relist that for July.
okay. So 9837 was removed?
Was removed, yes.
Okay.
So the motion would be 9A1 through 9A
36.
36.
36, and then
38 through 44.
And we could talk about the motions. First one's the renewal, that's 9B2 is self-explanatory, and 9B3, we do have a recommendation to
You wanna
move
do
the
them all
alternate
together?
one member for Don Smith to serve as the regular member.
So you want to do them all together, the 9As?
We
and
could, I mean, as long as we announce what we're doing, or it's up to you. I think it's simple enough to do
Yeah.
all together.
Is that your motion, Rob?
I'll approve 9A1 through 9A36, 38 through 44, 9B1, 2, and 3.
And 9B3 would be the appointment of Don Smith to the regular membership.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. So, Lou, for 10.1, I just had a question on,
Are we going to do public hearing on ordinances?
We did everything, no?
You did it right.
No,
Yeah.
we still have to do 10.1, don't?
so, could you just quickly explain this to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Just because we agree to this does not mean we are going to use the dollars that we put in.
Correct. This is just, it's merely a calculation, a guideline that we have to follow as far as our spending within our budget. And any, by raising this to 3.5%, anything that is unused, we get to cap bank for the next two budget cycles. And if it's not used, and to my knowledge, I don't believe that we've used any cap bank for either cap, be it the appropriations or the levy cap, at least for the last 5 years. So it's being put there as a safety precaution. It's not actual money that we're approving to spend extra in the budget. It's more of merely a guideline, a cap that we have to abide by.
Kind of like in case something,
Like a
Correct.
superstorm.
If there's a superstorm, some kind of emergency where, and even in emergency situations, there are cap exceptions for that as well. But in case there's a sharp increase in any of our cap-included expenses, this will allow us the ability to handle that with a little bit less difficulty. But as I say, you're not authorizing any additional spending in the budget, you're just raising the guideline in which the spending has to abide by.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's an accountant's gig.
Okay, so ordinance number 0-17-10 is introduced and passed on the first reading on 4/27/17 and published according to law, is now being taken up for further consideration and public hearing. Affidavit of publication of this ordinance in the Asbury Park Press issue of 5/2/17 is submitted and it is noted that a copy of the ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and that copies were available to the general public.
The ordinance title, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 48:4-45.14.
I would like to open to the public hearing.
Mayor, seeing none? No one's coming up.
Then I'll close.
Yeah.
Close the public portion.
I'll make the motion that ordinance number O-17-10 be finally passed and adopted, and that notice of its passage and adoption be published in the June 16, 17 issue of the Tri-Town News by reference to its title only.
Second.
For 10.1, I apologize. I'm going to advertise in the Asbury Park Press
So
this
noted.
meeting. Okay,
So
thank you. Was there a second?
Yes.
I apologize. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
I gotta go. Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Oh, they're all gonna read like that.
Okay, we have an introduction of ordinances.
Motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-11 on first reading by title and order the same to be published in the 6/16/17 issue. The Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passes on first reading by title. They'll be further considered for final pass at the public hearing and meeting of the Township Council to be held on July 18th, 2017, at 7:30 PM, prevailing time in municipal building.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Land Use, to add Section 188-86.4 entitled Reserve Mount Laurel District 2, RMLD-2, of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
No.
11-2. Motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-12 on first reading by title and order the same to be published in the 6/16/17 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and pass it on first reading by title. It'll be further considered for final pass at the public hearing and a meeting of the Township Council to be held on July 18th, 2017, at 7:30 PM prevailing time in municipal building.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell to rezone a portion of Block 135, Lot 26 from Highway Development 1, HD1, to Reserve Mount Laurel District 2, RMLD-2, on the official zoning map of the Township of Howell, Monmouth County, New Jersey. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
No. 3.
Motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-13 on first reading by title, and order the same to be published in the 6/16/17 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction, and pass it on first reading by title. It'll be further considered for final passage at the public hearing and the meeting of the Township Council will be held on July 18, 2017, 7:30 PM prevailing time in municipal building.
Second.
Hang with me. An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 3, Section 188-11, entitled Accessory Buildings of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-14 on first reading by title, in order the same to be published in the 6/16/17 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of introduction and passing on first reading by title. They'll be further considered for final pass at the public hearing and meeting of the Township Council to be held on July 18, 2017, at 7:30 p.m. Prevailing time, municipal building.
McKenna, would we have to change this to have indoor recreation mirror the health club facilities and fitness centers?
To change the definition, so not this one?
It's a couple more
You're
down.
only changing the definition?
No, we're not changing the definition, we're changing the zone.
We want it removed from the SED zone. Is this the right?
Yes, this is just listing the zones.
Oh,
Okay, so you only want,
So we want to have, I'm suggesting that we mirror,
you want to have the...
so it'll be a
the-
permitted use in the HC, the HD1, the HD2, the HD3.
The schedule reflect, as introduced, to have as a permitted use indoor recreation in everything, in the HC, HD1, HD2, HD3, but not not the SED.
Correct.
So that will be a change that's reflected as introduced. So indoor recreation will be removed from the SED zone as a permitted use.
And mirror the other zones.
It's already in those other zones, so we're just removing it from the SED zone.
So would you amend your motion, or?
So let me understand this. Where do you not want recreation to be approved? Like on Route 9 where there's...
No, it'll be on Route 9.
Oh,
Any SED zone, which we have been reducing some of the uses in the SED zone.
so like I've seen some retro fitnesses in like warehouse areas. You're removing it from there?
If it's in an SED zone, which we don't have, I don't think there are any in the SED zone now.
On Fairfield Road, that sports place.
That's closed.
But wasn't it, that was SED, and it was a sports place. You don't want them there no more? Or the planning board doesn't want them there no more?
This is a recommendation that I've had with Councilwoman Smith. They're not coming, they're leaving. This is not a zone where they're...
I'm just
making-
asking.
I'm giving you the reason.
Yeah.
They're not making revenue there. So they're moving out, and they want to be in the highway development zones.
Okay, but if they're not going anyway, why we waste our time removing them? I'm just asking.
well, why would someone, because they're leaving, and we see and not just this particular situation, but people think they can do better, and they'll open a place like that up, and then it's not going to do the business again, and it'll have destroyed land, and it doesn't make sense, and be another empty building.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with it, I just don't understand the logic behind it. If they're not gonna move there anyway, what's the gig? But, no, it's SED. It has nothing to do with, it has to do with recreation facilities in a,
Special economic
yeah,
development.
a special economic
Which is out
development
in
zone.
the country where there are narrow roads and not the infrastructure for something that might end up being very large.
I just want, I'm sorry, please, if someone wants to speak, please come up to the microphone and don't yell from the audience. You need to give us your name, where you live, so that we can have a proper identification when it's on TV. So I will ask that just once. Thank you. Please.
Done.
You good?
Okay.
Okay.
What are you going to do, just make the motion now, so.
Okay, so Councilman Walsh did make the introduction, and
Are we making it as amended?
Yes.
Yes, as amended.
as amended,
Second.
an ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 1, Schedule 1, permitted uses, non-residential zones of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes?
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Want me to do the next one
Go
so you can
ahead.
breathe?
Good, give me a break.
Motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-15 on first reading by title, to order the same to be published in the 6/16/17 17 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on 7/18/17 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell, Chapter 188, Article 3, creating Chapter 188-14.1, entitled Pool Cabanas of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Barbara,
Could you please tell me where all these cabanas and pools are going to be,
Oh, no.
that you're
not
creating?
proper.
Where are you doing this? Or what's it for?
In people's homes,
When they want to put a structure up by their pool and at their homes, on their site, their own property.
In the villages.
if somebody has a pool and they want one of those little tiny housey things to
Does this
change
have anything
clothes.
to, does this have anything to do with the Mount Laurel or public housing?
No,
or
no,
anything?
no. It's an accessory structure, and this is just introduction, and there'll be a public hearing.
Powell Homes, thank you.
Go to the cabana at the villages, Jerry, me and you.
Did she finish that one?
yeah, 6.
Okay, motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-16 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published in the 16-17 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and it will be further considered for final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on 7/18/17 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 1, Schedule 3, Schedule of Bulk and Dimensional Requirements, Residential Zones of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Okay?
7.
Motion to introduce ordinance number 0-17-17 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published in the 16-17 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for the final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on 7/18/17 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188-78.2, entitled Highway Development 3, HD3, Zone of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes?
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. 8, Rob, you.
11-8.
Has it.
I have it. Motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-18 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published in the June 16, 2017 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after a public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on July 18, 2017 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 1, Section 188-77, Highway Development 1 Zone, HD1, of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
11-9, motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-19 on first reading by title and order the same to be published in the 6/16/17 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title. That will be further considered for final passage at the public hearing in the meeting of the Township Council to be held on 7/18/17 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in municipal building.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 1, Section 188-75, Neighborhood Commercial Zone, NC, of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. 10.
11:10, motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-20 on first reading by title, to order the same to be published in the 6/16/17 issue of the Asbury Park Press, get a notice of its introduction and pass it on first reading by title. That'll be further considered for final passage to public hearing in a meeting of the Township Council to be held on 7/18/17, 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 1, Section 188-76, Highway Commercial Zone, HC, of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Motion to introduce with the change of the bulk that we did before, removing it out of the SED. I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-21 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published in the June 16, 2017 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after a public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on July 18, 2017 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
And for the record, the change that we discussed was removal of indoor recreation from the SED zone as a permitted use.
Correct.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188-79 entitled Special Economic Development of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
12, motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-22 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published in the June 16, 2017 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after a public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on July 18, 2017 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188-73.5 entitled Planned Mixed-Use District of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Number 13 we got?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-23 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published in the June 16, 17 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after a public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on July 18, 2017 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
Second.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 1, Section 188-78, Highway Development 2 Zone, HD2, of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
11-14, motion to introduce ordinance number O-17-24 on first reading by title and to order the same to be published in the June 16, 2017 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after a public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on July 18, 2017 at 7:30 PM prevailing time in the municipal building.
An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188, Article 1, Section 188-4, entitled Definitions and Rules of General Applicability of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Any unfinished business?
I don't think so.
Mayor, you got it?
Yep. For information, the municipal offices will be closed Tuesday, July 4th, in observance of Independence Day. The next regular meeting will be Tuesday, July 18th, executive session at 6:30, regular session at 7:30. I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
You only go to that cabana.
Mr. DeCastro?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.